Hello, and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan Read-Through podcast. My name is Peter Bond. I've read every book in the main series. However, my co-hosts are reading the series for the first time. With me today is my friend and closest confidant, India Jones.
Hello!
Our producer, AJ Fileri, is a cool guy, and I'm glad they're here.
Hello. Thanks, Pete. That was really genuine, and I didn't type that in the script.
And downtown Charlie Brown, it's Joshua, Alabama, Moses, Texas, Southern Draw, Joshua Dean Baker.
Well, now, let me tell y'all, it's a real rip-roaring pleasure to be here today with y'all.
And that's...
I hate that.
I
Well,
didn't...
India, I do apologize in advance.
Josh, it's going to be a long podcast. I don't think this is the predicament show.
Yeah, I can't talk in that accent and be non-verbose.
Yeah. Anyway, so bada bing, bada boom, we're here. We all just read the last few chapters of Bonehunters, so we're gonna dive into it. Never say never, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna be one of our longer episodes. There was a chunky ending to the book, and I think we're all looking forward to talking about how the 6th volume wraps up here. So, without further ado, here's a pet peeve of mine. Here, first time, long time.
We getting into it.
First time, long time. Sometimes when I listen to the show, often I'll say, well, we got a lot to get to. We should get into the show, you know?
Sure.
And I say this almost every time, you know?
Right.
I mean, I don't think it's ever wrong.
Right.
Yeah, but I can't, if I always say that, anyway, we're too up our own ass. To chapter 21.
Chapter 21. The worshippers of Shaik Reborn are indulgent in food, sex, and drugs. Fellison the Younger included. She thinks about the apocalypse, desire, and excess. Mathok delivers the Book of Drajna to her. She says she has no need of it, that she has no need of him or an army. Mathok then rides out of the city. Mathok and the others are found by Perrin. They speak of the city and Fellison, and Perrin considers this new plague in religion. He makes Mathok a fist and takes his army into their service. He decides to create a new card, Salvation. He thinks it is currently under control of the crippled god, but will one day break free. Mathok tells Herlockle that the first Shaik Reborn was a Malazan, but he forgets to bring it up to Perrin. Alrata An thinks on the slaughter of Sepik. Then Veed, Icarian, and even more Eater prepare to assault a throne as a test. The Warlocks open a warren and travel to Drift of Ali, to the Throne of Shadow. Icarium senses that the Shadow Spirits have fled this place, and the Eater lead them forward. Alrata finds the chamber room, and the throne has been smashed and destroyed. The Warlocks begin weeping, and An says they will have to find another throne. Icarium laughs as they leave. Before they are fully gone, the Throne of Shadow fixes itself, and Shadowthrone watches the Eater leave, meeting eyes with a knowing Icarium. Brunthurvian suggests to the adjunct to use the warrens of Fanderay and Tog to save them months of travel. Quickben will help them. Kalam and Quickben discuss their loyalties and whether or not they lay with Tavor. The sea fills with icebergs. In Malaz City, ships arrive with Malazans and Andy. The Andy fled from Drift of Ali. Traveler sent them away, and they got shipwrecked. Braventooth thinks Traveler sounds familiar. The Andy are led by Namander, the first son of Andamander Rake. The foreigner at Coops watches the Andy. Cartheron Crust is worried about the city and the hatred running through it. He wonders about the storm of jade in the sky and and then sees 4 great Drummonds entering the harbor. And he wonders who the Empress travels with.
Okay, so chapter 21 starts in this kind of ruined city where these worshippers are kind of forming around Shaik Reborn, and some time has passed. There's a bit of a time skip, and we see that kind of this culture's coming. It's indulgent. There's all this food, and there's this sex, and Felison Younger's kind of in the center of this way. And then Mathok comes onto the scene, and we haven't seen the Book of Drygenet in a long time, or where these soldiers have been since they left Yucatan. And he comes to the city, and he's really trying to start this rebellion again, in a way, or at least bring Felison Younger into this more active state, so to speak. But ultimately, she, obviously she refuses, and Mathok kind of leaves, and the city kind of is left in this new state, so to speak. What did you guys all think of this? Did you think that she was going to become some new Shaik Reborn, or do you think that this is good for her?
I really liked that. I liked Mathok the most in this whole section because it is so rare in this book series that people do things that make any kind of sense to me. Everything he did in this instance, because he brings all the shit to her and he expects her to keep doing it, and she clearly, has been taken over by the crippled god and the excess and stuff. And I was really glad that he wasn't like, "You're right, we shall join you." He was like, "This fucking sucks. I'm gonna leave with my desert soldiers," and it made sense to me, sort of like Horab. He sees the Malazans aren't going to murder them in cold blood, and he's like, "Well, fuck it. We like killing people. Can we join?" I thought that this is one of the few times that I was like, I fully understand the motives of everyone involved in this conversation, and there is no deeper layer.
That's interesting. I feel like I didn't fully connect with why they end up joining with Perrin, But to turn attention to Felison Younger for a sec, Inge, what do you think of this as an ending for her character?
Well, until Josh said that she's under the crippled gods, I don't know.
Is that how you read it?
I didn't. I just thought that she was like, I've been through a lot of shit. This place is kind of lit, and we don't want to kill people. We just want to chill and have sex and eat food and get fat, because being fat is phenomenal and exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it as well.
I mostly read it as I don't know.
Fuck this.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
I'm not saying she's taking orders from the crippled god, but he has provided her all of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That, in that way, he is under her influence. She is under his influence.
I was just about to ask, though, how did they, if they're just, having sex and chilling, how are they getting all this food? But that makes sense.
There's lots of, we get to see the people who are having a good time, and there's always people not having a good time in a society like this, so.
Yeah, tilling fields and stuff.
So what's up with the dude jerking it while Felison is, doing shit? Huh?
Kulat. He's just a dirty bird. He's just a gross guy.
I just didn't need that detail, and I was happy to be done with that detail, and then Mathok's and that dude's totally cranking wood while she does sex to Perrin. I was like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
If we're all consenting parties.
Damn, you know what I just thought of? You know how fucking nuts it is that he had that conversation? Because I read it in Pete's, as I was reading Pete's thing, he specifically wrote, forgets to bring it up to Perrin, and I was like, well, how would they have known? But what just hit me? Mathok fucking knows this girl's name is Felison Younger.
That's what I was thinking.
And I never thought about it. He never once calls her that. He always just calls her Shaik Reborn. Fuck you. Fuck her, dude. She's not Shaik Reborn. She didn't want the Book of Drygenet. Call her Felison.
But does Mathok know she's Felison Younger?
Yes. He literally said, I know who she is. I've known her since she was a child.
Yeah, you're right now that I say it.
Yeah, and he says that he meant to tell her, but then there's a line...
It's the
so
last
preoccupied,
line.
He did not report his conversation to the High Fist.
I know, and now I'm livid with myself for not realizing, because I thought about that, right? Yeah. But I'm now more mad at Mathok even than Herlockle. Because Mathok could have said some shit. Ugh.
I'm just so happy for Felison.
Yeah, so that's what I was curious about. Why you say you're happy? Are you just feeling good that she's what?
I just feel like she's just like, well, this is fine. I'm good here. And and for her, that's the best I could hope for. And
True.
I'm not mad at it. It's not very ceremonious, but at least she's not dead by the hands of her sister or anyone else.
Well, that's how I feel. I'm not like saying sick, crushed it, like let's all be hedonists, but better than her being Shaik Reborn and like Mathok, let's make an army again and, let's do another war.
That's true.
When she definitely will end up just spiked to death. Yeah.
I think it would be stupid. I think that what she's doing is like kind of smart. Like, I'm good. We're good. We don't want to kill people or enslave people. It's no cool. Bye.
Aj, how'd you walk away from that section?
No, I mean, I generally the same feeling as India. Like I'm happy that she's not doing the whole Shaik Reborn thing as it has been done in the past. I could see it still turning into like something, the whole city of the fallen and stuff, but we'll see about that. But she does have like a whole passage about like the excess and like maybe without the excess, I would like feel better about myself again. But I don't know. I'm just kind of chilling. But then I think when she turns Mathok away, I think she's like definitely like, yeah, okay, I can still have excess and also have power,
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. I thought was nice. My book of salvation is what she calls the new book of Dryjna.
Well, speaking of salvation, Perrin makes this new card.
Mm-hmm.
And he
that was fire, PB.
And he says, he's like, this card belongs to the crippled god, but
for now,
soon it shall be.
I didn't even make that connection. Nice.
Yeah,
good job.
this Velison's definitely going to break off at some point.
Wrenched
which will be cool.
Free. And I think this is the last time we see Perrin in this book, right?
Yep, it is.
Is he? Maybe he's in the epilogue. I don't know.
He's not in the epilogue, the epilogue does a lot of shit. I left a and just like really quickly tries to tie every knot that exists.
Well, we can.
I don't think we see Perrin though.
So let's put a little pin on that storyline. How'd you guys feel about Perrin's storyline ending with him kind of absorbing this army and kind of, I don't know, creating this new card, talking about deck stuff? Inge, what you think about Perrin?
Pretty what's that word? Apathetic, I suppose. Uninterested.
Yeah.
Disinterested. I don't really understand anything when he discusses like the card stuff. So that was like not exciting. And then also, but I do feel like I think it's a good place for Perrin. I feel we're gonna obviously see him again with whatever he does next. So I'm not like, but it's not like see you later. We're good.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Nice. Well, listen,
not many feelings about it.
Let's roll on to talking about the first siege of the throne in these few chapters. So, AJ, Aldra is there. India has a gun pointed to her head. Alrada he's with the Eater. He's thinking about all the slaughter they've done, and then it's like, let's go. Warlocks open up some stuff. They go to Drift of Val. What's that? Boom, the Throne of Shadows destroyed. Yeah. And then like Ikariam's there, and then like they're gonna leave, and then Shadow Throne shows up and is like, oh, actually it's okay, don't worry about it. And then he and Ikariam,
I don't know if that's what he said, but okay.
And then they like hunk, and then like they all dip.
Sorry, was that a wink sound effect?
That was a wink sound effect. And then
I've never heard a wink sound
Can
like
you do that again?
Before.
Hank? And
why is it so horny? I don't understand.
And then they're like, okay, we'll go and find another throne. And that's this kind of, it all happens pretty rapidly. There's a few different scenes. AJ, what did you make of this?
I loved it. I mean, at first I was like, oh shit, the throne is busted. And then I was like, wait, no, this is probably some bullshit going on. And then it was some bullshit going on, as a matter of fact, which I don't know, which I loved. And I also loved that it wasn't the illusion that Shadowthrone set up, he says, was just like set up as like it would trip if somebody came through a portal. So it wasn't even specifically like he was expecting it to be the Eater and like Ikariam. It was just like whoever comes through, it will make it look like the throne is broken. So I just thought that was just funny, because he was expecting people to come through, but then when he saw Icarium, was probably like, oh fuck, that's Icarium.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked it. It made me chuckle.
Well, AJ, let me ask you this then, because one of my takeaways from this sequence, when I read it the first time, and still this first time, I have this feeling it's like, okay, well, this is how they wanted to test Icarium. And of course, I know what happens later on. And then it's like, okay, well, now they need to do it with another throne. And in my mind, it's like, okay, I see where this storyline's going. I see where we're going next. And then it's almost like it's a tension building moment because the conflict's not here. The conflict is going to be where Troll is at the first throne. Did you feel the tension building throughout this?
Absolutely.
Scene?
I mean, the tension builds throughout the next 2 chapters into chapter 23. And I think this is where it starts. Like all the stuff in the beginning here with Mathok and Perrin and stuff is just kind of like we're tying up this end so that we can get to the actual climax of this part of the book. And I think this is where we start accelerating because like you said, they're like, yeah, we need to find another throne. And it's like, OK, well, what other throne have we been talking about this entire fucking book? Like, obviously, this is going to be the climax unless we're getting double bluffed right now, like, which I thought was a possibility. I thought there was a possibility they were going somewhere else. Like we were going to get some like Tog and Fanderay, like they're fighting over the Beasthold throne or whatever the fuck. But but yeah, I was immediately just like, oh, shit. Well, this is going to blow.
Mm-hmm.
So, Inge, Kalam and Quickben have a conversation around their loyalties and whether or not they're like with Tavor, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously this is kind of revealed later on. And we you know, you read the end of this book, but did you, at this time, like, do you think Tavor's like earned their loyalty?
No. And I think that's why they're just kind of like, I don't know. Who's to say? Could go either way. These 4 chapters are the most that we've ever heard from Tavor or anyone.
Yes.
Like these 4 chapters have like so many perspectives that we've never heard that it's just like mind blowing.
I mean, if you think about it, in the last 6 chapters, Tavor has burst onto this page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at that point, no, not really. She had just kind of started, I feel, and I don't even think anything happened with her that was substantial at this point. Like that she earned anyone's loyalty or trust. Not to say that she didn't earn it, but she just keeps her cards too close to the chest vest.
Mm-hmm.
Chest and vest.
Thank you. Yeah, so at this point, no, and I kind of get their apprehension, and also, no, I don't know. No, I don't think. The answer is no, but we do, in these chapters, get a lot more perspective, which I love.
Did you think that their loyalties would end up lying elsewhere, or that they wouldn't stand with her?
When I tell you that I don't even think anything going forward about this book, nothing is ever, like, in my realm of thought. So I don't even.
No thoughts head empty.
Yeah, literally. So in this case, I mean, I thought that it would be very like the story progression way to go with this would be, yes, of course they'd stick with Tavor. Would be my thought at the time.
But India, I don't know. On page 998, they're talking about Tavor and how they knew Dujek and they knew Whiskey Jack, but they don't really know anything about Tavor. But the adjunct, well, things aren't so simple.
So they end up using magic, the parish, with the aid of Quickben. They kind of magically travel across the sea much faster than normally be able to. So as they begin to travel through those warrens, they see these icebergs, and we cut away, and Josh, we return to Malaz City, and this is our last time. Obviously, in chapters 22, 23, Malaz City is kind of becomes the scenery of the climax of the novel, of this part of the book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is our last time before that, where we're checking in with just a few different people throughout the city, including these Andy that are in from Drift of All. And we learn that some of them are children of Animander Rake. And we hear about how they got off at Drift of All. Did any of this stand out to you? And then we hear about Foreigner, and then it ends with Carthron Crust seeing the Empress arrive with a ton of soldiers.
I have never felt more like disconnected from a section of these books, I think, than I did in some of these sections in Malaz City, because I usually feel like I've got a pretty good fucking grasp of who people are and what we're doing and why they're important. But like, no one can read this book and know why the fuck or who the fuck Foreigner is, And like if there are hints to be found to know who that is, then kudos to you. I call a lot of things in this series. I got no idea who this foreigner guy is. Same with...
I mean, he's revealed later in this book.
He is 100%.
Are you talking about Traveler?
No, not Traveler. Foreigner.
No, Foreigner.
Who's Foreigner end up being? With the scarred arms.
I don't know. Should we say it now or should we just wait until later?
I guess we should wait until later.
Let's wait until later.
Sure. Yeah. I forget at this point. I mean, I only read it yesterday, but I feel like in this part of the book, we just jumped all these people and I was like, I don't know why I care. Although Nemander's a bad name.
The first thing I wanted to say was, Josh, imagine you naming your first son Osh.
Yeah, it's not.
That's what he did. That's what he did.
This is my son, Jay. If it was your kid, AJ.
It seems like a panic naming.
It really does. It was cool, and I will say what I did love about this whole end of the book is all the places we go into Malaz City that we've sort of heard talked about over the course of the series of the books. I really liked all the places, but a lot of the people I kept being like, I don't know, guys. I don't know why you're important yet. I guess in a book or 2 or 3 I will.
Yeah.
Now I do just want to say real quick, backtracking to the ice whatchamacallit, war and travel. I just rode on the Cape May Lewis ferry last weekend. Okay. And that was not incredible for Josh's tummy. And I now sympathize so wholeheartedly with Fiddler. Like, that sounds like a literal hell. No, thank you. I'm good out here.
I don't know. Could be cool. Maybe there's whales.
No, there's seals. There's definitely seals.
And they say where there's seals, there's whales.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bit of a tongue twister.
I mean, whales eat seals, right? Killer whales do.
I guess it depends on the whale.
Well, I mean, killer whales do, yeah.
Why'd you say no like that?
Well, I was thinking of blue whales and humpback whales, man, not fucking orcas.
No, I'm thinking of the cool whales.
The cool.
Yeah, the bad boys of whales.
Sorry. This section, when we're talking about Nemander, they're like, oh yeah, Lady Envy and Nemander boinked.
Right.
And made Fade.
Right.
Or I guess that's how you say that name, Fade.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
Anamander's kid had sex with Lady Envy and had a kid.
And that was one of the Tistandi that was at the table.
Is broken.
And my understanding, it's because Lady Envy was feuding with Anamander.
Yes.
So it was like,
so he slept with his son.
To get with you, I'm gonna fuck your kid.
It's incredible.
That classic choice.
It's incredible. What a woman.
All right. Well, listen, let's keep things moving as things in Malaz City are really going to heat up as the finale kind of kicks off. So
before we move on to chapter 22, we just want to, as always, except for last week, sorry about that, we want to thank our new patrons on Patreon.
This week, we would love to thank Sachiko, Luciana, Adam, Menno, Maxwell, Jack, Ken, Musta, Mike, Blair, and Eloise.
Thank you all so much for your contributions. And again, sorry that we didn't read your names in the last episode. That we very much appreciate it at all times. So thank you. On with the next chapter. Chapter 22. A boat approaches Tavor's fleet, led by Hadar. Hadar informs Tavor that she is earlier than expected, and that the Wiccan she travels with are responsible for the death of Pormqual and his army. He is ordered to escort them into Malaz City, where the Empress is. Kalam and Quickben remain undecided, and Apsalar reminds them of that. They speak briefly, but Apsalar leaves, and Quick and Kalam wonder about Tavor and Lasine. Soldiers on the Salanda wave at passing ships with the decapitated Tistandi heads. Kindly remarks that the Jakatakan fleet escorting them are coddled pups. Destriant, Run, Thurvian, and Keneb speak about the differences within the army and the many sorceries aboard the different ships. Quickben senses that both the Empress and Tashrin await them. Tavor tells them all that they are to come together for one of Fiddler's games. Quickben grabs Fiddler and Bottle. Led by Fiddler, Tavor, Ta'Amber, Keneb, Apsalar, Kalam, Quickben, and Bottle will play with the deck of dragons. Fiddler thinks it's a bad idea, but they play anyway. Cards are dealt and spread around. Fiddler gets Soldier of High House Life, Apsalar, Assassin of High House Shadow. Opan is dealt. Tavor gets Master of the Deck, all amongst many readings. The game ends and a few people leave, but Tavor remains and flips over a face-down card dealt to Quickben. Knight of Shadows. A card painted with an eater and a spear. Tavor and Ta'Amber speak about what this could mean, and then worry about the 14th, especially the Wiccans. Keneb speaks of civil war, and Tavor wants to speak to Bottle in private. Pearl watches Tavor's fleet approach, curious about how quickly they came and how large their fleet is. Lasine asks Pearl about the adjunct, and then they speak of the parish and Tavor's first move. Lasine and Pearl meet with Malak Rel and Corbel Odam. Malak Rel wears the insignia of High Fist and commands Pearl to dispatch the Claw against Banishar. Pearl petitions Lasine to listen to Tavor, but the Empress refuses. Pearl leaves, wondering what happened to Topper. He speaks with Two Claws about their orders and learns that Lasine brought 600 of them with her. Hellian ends up falling overboard. Touchy and Breathless watch. Far above the city, the twins of Opan watch the night unfold. Tavor finds Bottle. Bottle has made a doll and soon will be ready to seek help from somebody. And Bottle says Ta'Amber is someone a lot more than she once was. Kalam is worried about the adjunct's plans. Then he hears Apsalar has gone ashore. So have the Redblades. There is conversation over whether they have been betrayed, and Tavor asks Kalam and Ta'Amber to be her escort to Mock's Hold. The Redblades land, and Lostara Yil thinks Tene Beralta is lying. Banishar and Braventooth speak to soldiers about Foreigner and the city's mood. Banishar buys the other man a drink, then he leaves. Braventooth asks the two soldiers to stop the Claw that is following Banishar. The docks have become crowded, a mob waiting for the Wiccans to arrive. The Claw following Banishar stalks after the priest, thinking of Malak Rel. Rel is enlisting Claws loyal only to him, and Moral thinks this night will be an unprecedented slaughter. Moral notices he's being followed. He hides in an alley and kills his followers, and tries to get back on the tail of Banishar, but has lost him. At the docks, Captain Reinag boards the ship. Reinag tells Keneb he has temporary command of the 14th, that the army is to disembark and stand down. Tavor and her party leave the ship and are escorted towards Mock's Hold by the Redblades and other soldiers. On the ship, though, Reinag quarrels with Keneb over command of the army and the parish. Keneb ultimately says they cannot disembark because of the plague from 7 cities. Lostara and Kalam speak about the crowded streets of the city. Kalam thinks Fiddler and some other soldiers have probably snuck ashore. The crowds, however, start to scatter a bit when word of the plague spreads. Banishar walks the streets. He hears about the plague, but he doubts. Then, he is grabbed. Hellian has emerged from an unpleasant swim across the bay and sees Banishar. She's caught him. The Claw, too, has found the priest and moves toward him. Hellian grabs the Claw Maral's arm and breaks it, then smashes his head in, yelling, "This one's mine." She grabs Banishar and tells him he's under arrest. Fiddler, Gessler, and Stormy watch this unfold, then head toward the center district. Fiddler finds an old shop and acquires a specialty crossbow. He speaks about all the improvements made to it. Fiddler reminisces with Tack about old times, and then asks about Braventooth. He is also given a fiddle. Hellian drags Banishar away, ignoring his excuses, and they end up at Smiley's. a bar formerly owned by the Emperor and Dancer. A mob passes by the bar, and before serving their drinks, the bartender turns into a demon to deal with the mob. Aboard the Solanda, Korik starts to pass out munitions to protect the ships, if it comes to that.
So, Josh.
That's my name.
India. Before we get into kind of the play-by-play, I would like to know, so when they start rolling up to the harbor, like, do you guys have a bad feeling? Or are you guys feeling like, this will be good? No problem. Don't worry about it. Like, where are you at?
So this is book 6, Peter.
Okay.
And I say that because we know how Steve do at this point. It's gonna get a little wacky at the end. So me personally, as soon as it was announced that Malaz City is where it's gonna go down, I was like, well, something bad's gonna happen here. Now, I did not expect what happened to be because I got pretty crazy. But I knew something would happen. I didn't feel good about them coming here.
So when they roll up and they're like, oh yeah, like you got to get escorted in. I don't know if you know the Wiccans are fully responsible. Like,
yeah. Honestly, that conversation, like the conversation of Tavor with Keneb and stuff, that whole like getting them prepped, that was the moment that I was like, oh, I like Tavor. She gets it.
No. All right, so let's kind of start. So they show up, and like first they're gonna leave a lot of the boats on the outskirts of the harbor, and then they come in, and we do get another scene with Kalam and Quickben, but this time I think it's Apsalar is with them too. Now, Inge, do you think Apsalar has any loyalty to this army?
I think so. I think so. Like, I'm gonna speak in my mindset at the time. I think.
Okay.
Apsalar is trying to be a part of the team while also being a part of, what is his name? Cotillion?
Shadow Throne, Cotillion?
Yeah. So I think Apsalar really doesn't have any idea what's going on with Shadow Throne and Cotillion. So when she's with this group of people, Kalam, Quickben, she kind of feels, I don't know why she acts as though she has like all of this insider information. I feel like she's always a little like very like, smug when she's around them. And I'm not sure if that's the word for it, but that's what it seems like to me. And she always seems like she kind of knows what's going on and that they're idiots and have no idea, which I like. But I do think that she is, I can't tell. I can't tell if she's just loyal to herself or if she's loyal to them or where she falls at this time. I can't tell, actually. I'm taking it back. I can't tell.
Just taking it back. All right, so the ship starts sailing in. They like wave some of the heads at the other soldiers. I think that's kind of funny.
Wait, that was hilarious, and I feel like it deserves a second.
Yeah,
I love it. I love that they didn't I don't know who didn't realize that they were alive, and they were just horrified, and then they're like, oh my God, they're alive, and they look like they're really enjoying seeing.
They're having a great time.
And they're just waving with the heads.
Yeah.
Dead. Hilarious. Loved it. I loved that. I thought it was very funny.
What'd you all think about Stormy starting like this shit war where everyone was just shitting over the side of the boat?
Oh my God, I forgot about the shit war. So good.
Disgusting.
You know, you do. You know, as you do when you're all on the ship and you're just passing time.
Yeah. My favorite was when the one guy was looking at Stormy. He's like, "What does he have to eat to create that?" Nice.
Disgusting.
So I did want to mention Aj. So we haven't talked a ton about the parish, but here Destriat Runthurvian, hard name, speaks with Keneb, and they're talking about their armies. So what do you get much more of a read on this whole thing? We're not going to talk a ton about the Destrian, but
sure.
Well, what you got to read on them throughout this finale?
I mean, I like them more than I did when we first met them, because immediately after we meet them, Quickben's like, "Oh no, something's up," and we still don't know what that is, I guess.
Sure.
But they really, I don't know, they seem pretty chill with the Bonehunters. So sure, like let's do it, you know?
Yeah, I was just touching in because obviously Tavor's army is kind of building out, and they're talking about these different parts of it. And of course, the parish and their allegiance to Tavor is this important point in that throne room conversation later.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Before we get anywhere near there, that's right, Josh. Let's all gather around for a little bit of Fiddler's card game. So Tavor recruits all these people.
Oh, yes.
They come together, and there's this huge scene. And I only wrote like a few of the cards into the summary because I think like everyone gets 2 or 3 cards, and it's just
more than that.
It's coming fast and easy because there's no rules, just right. Josh, did you take away anything from this scene?
What I took away from it was the sheer gall of Steven to still just be pulling out shit that characters we've known for 6 books can do. Like, I guess Fiddler, because, Fiddler, he's a good sapper. He can't play the fiddle at all.
He can canonically do this. He's always been
he did this in the
games.
first book, bud.
Yeah, but he didn't do... he did some reading in the first book. He didn't do a whole ass, like, we're going to tell the future of the series in, like, a 10-minute period, and also everyone has to get absolutely shit-faced.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I agree. Like, they're always talking about...
the first book?
Well, he plays a game with the deck of dragons, and Quickben is watching, and he's like, oh, he thinks he's playing a game, but he's doing a reading.
Oh, you're right.
And then Quickben, like, looks at the cards, and the cards, like, predict stuff that happens later in the book. I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like in that one, like, it didn't feel like he knew what he was doing.
It is a bigger scale here. I'll give that to Josh,
yeah.
But I do think it is established Fiddler could do something like this.
All right. I was also talking about later when he just, like, sings a dirge that does something that we don't fucking understand.
Yeah, everybody gets a bardic inspiration die or something. It's like...
Well, we can get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I thought it was sick. But I grabbed absolutely nothing. I mean, I guess I could read it again and tell you what I grabbed. Like, well, we're sitting here now, though, 4 days after I read it. Like, I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I folded the page. I was like, maybe I'll go back and read it all before we...
Yeah,
no, I did not.
Inge, did any of it land, or just cards in the wind?
Just words, and I was like, what?
AJ, anything for you? Obelisk.
Yeah, absolutely, Obelisk, the sleeping goddess. No, I was really intrigued though by the rusty gauntlet. This mixture of rum and wine.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like it would taste terrible, but part of me really wants to do it.
Listen, let's make a special show. Rusty Gauntlet Hour.
Oh my god. Yeah, we just get wasted on rum and wine. That'd be fun.
We would die. That would be the worst hangover of all time.
That would be a heavy hangover. I'll give you that. Wine hangovers already do me in.
Yeah, dude.
But anyway, so there's this reading. I think it's a fun scene, but I do, of course, it is a lot going on. But oh, and there's also that scene where, like, at the end they check and they see, like, oh, there's the Knight of Shadow. It's an eater with a spear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fucking troll.
So do you like troll as a part of High House Shadow? What do you think?
Well, he's been defending shit for them. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it tracks.
And he's an eater. Like, he should be part of Shadow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who made that card though? We don't know.
Well, it was to Amber, but was it to Amber?
Yeah, it was the aerosol through to Amber.
We'll talk about it, AJ.
I do like when the game ends. Who wins? The adjunct, her face pale as candle wax, asked in a whisper. Nobody, Fiddler replied. That's life for you. So he's talking about the she got the priest of life. He's like, that's life for you. It's very funny.
That is pretty good. I actually didn't catch that. Real Calvin Ball energy with that game.
Yeah, that's what I think. What I love so much about it is it's just like, hey, fuck you. We drink because this is my game.
That's life for you. So then we cut to Pearl in the throne room. And he's speaking with Lysine, and they speak about the adjunct. Malacrel and Corblo Dom are there. Corblo Dom and Malacrel both have promotions. And Malacrel gives Pearl a command. He's like, you should go send all the claws against Banishar. I need you to kill them. And then there's more of a conversation, and we also hear that Lysine's brought a ton of claws with her into the city. But this is our first real read on what's going on in the throne room, which we'll come to later in this sequence. But Inge, what did you think when we cut here to see the state of Lysine, who we haven't seen in 4 books?
Yeah, so I don't know about the state of Lysine, but I was not expecting Pearl to be with her in this scene. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I just was not expecting Pearl to be here. I thought the conversation was interesting. I don't really understand. I still don't understand what her motives are in this moment, like with Tavor. And like, I guess it's pretty clear that like, it seems like she wants to kill her. But then I'm like, well, at the time, I'm like, well, what if this is like a whole power play that I don't know about? Her, you know, typical Steve behavior. So I was confused. I was unsure. And then when you see like Malik Rel and Corvo Lodam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then I was like, fuck. Like, first of all, how and why? And then I'm like, okay, well, this probably isn't good for Tavor. So.
Probably not good for Tavor.
Probably not good for Tavor. And then, but I was really happy that Pearl was like, no, I'm going to go back and I'm going to like try to explain this again. It's a side. I don't know if we're trying to like redeem Pearl at this point, make it like, we want to love Pearl. Is that what we're going for? So I found that pretty cool as well. Pretty different for Pearl, but like I'm into it.
Well, listen, let's just crack it open. We got, show's got no Pearl kind of emerges as a major character in this finale here. And this is kind of the start of this, right?
Yeah.
I feel like in the back scene, he's kind of been a supporting character in Lestara's storyline.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
But now here he is, and he's doing a lot of stuff. And of course, he doesn't make it out alive, you know? So how do you end up feeling about Pearl at the end of all this?
I personally didn't like Pearl. I always thought that Pearl was hilarious and, cutthroat, kind of like myself. So, so by the end, I was upset. I loved Pearl a lot. I thought Pearl was a phenomenal character, just like very enjoyable, funny. But in this scene, emerging as kind of like, I don't know, a hero of sorts. It was not what I expected, but it was very satisfying.
Josh, you gave a look.
I have the exact. I left this book feeling like I've never hated a character so much for. No, let me finish. For taking such a misstep at the end. I was so prepared to love Pearl, and then he made his choice, and I was just so sad that I had to hate him now.
Why?
Because the choice he made was, I'm smarter than everyone else in the room.
That was always his choice, though.
Yes, I know, but he was given that last opportunity to fucking, for once in his life, be a little bit humble and work with somebody else, and instead went, no, I'm probably smarter than everyone else I've ever met, and really all I need to do is take power for myself, and then I'll solve all of the problems by myself. And I was so prepared for him to have any kind of redemption, and he just fucking didn't.
I don't agree.
That's fair.
It's clear.
I don't agree.
AJ split the tie.
Yeah, AJ, split the tie.
Because there's only two opinions that are allowed.
Yeah.
And it's
I think I come out more on Josh's side, but listen, I loved Pearl. I knew he was like making a silly mistake, being like, oh, I'll be the Clawmaster, I'll take care of everything, I'll kill Corvo Lodam and Malik Rel. I was like, there's no way that's gonna happen, but go for it, dude. That's fine. We'll roll with that. We'll say that's the plan for now.
Yeah.
Like, sure, cool, whatever. That's great. But then when he's like, oh, I have to kill Kalam Mekar because he could kill me, instead of just like, I don't know, leaving him alone. I don't know. That was like never a choice, I guess. But like just to I mean, it's what the one Claw says when he shoots him with the arrow. He's like, oh, that's against our code or whatever, and blah blah blah. And like, yeah, that's a shitty thing to do just because you're afraid maybe he'll kill you. Like, if he's a better fighter than you, that's how it rolls, baby. Like, get better at fighting. I don't know what to tell you. So I was with Pearl up until he was like, well, I'm gonna shoot this arrow at Kalam. Really, 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 really just made me upset. And
what sucked is I 100% understood every choice he made and why he made that choice.
Sure.
But at the same time, if he wasn't so far up his own ass, there would have been so many other options available to him. And I get why, from his point of view, this was the only option in front of him. But like,
right, because he thought Lestar is dead, so he's like, okay, I'm going to take down the Empire from the inside, so I have to become Clawmaster to do that. But I can't become Clawmaster while Kalam can still kill me, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to like Pearl so much after
I loved Pearl so much until that moment.
Yeah. Book 4, I was like so fucking pulling for Pearl.
Yeah, dude. Book 4 Pearl is best Pearl, I think.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, India.
You guys are entitled to your opinions, I guess. Even if they're wrong.
I guess.
Well, India, aren't you upset that he tried to kill Kalam, or I guess did kill Kalam?
Well.
No, okay, that face says nothing. Says no, I mean.
Pearl just, I don't know. Pearl did it for love. Can I blame him?
For vengeance.
Well, if you do it for love, is it a crime?
Exactly. It's
true.
A crime of passion.
Yeah.
I really did like,
I'm not a lawyer, but...
I really did like, though, when Pearl talks to those two Claw in the tower. And they're like, oh, yeah, Malacrel told us to do this thing, but, like, he's not the Clawmaster, you are, so, like...
And see, that was the moment. But I also... Did you guys feel like if he said no, that they were just going to kill him? I really wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess now that we know that the black... What is it? The black glove exists?
Okay, I want to talk about this. And it's gonna go into...
We fully derailed the show.
We're going to the Banishar part. We're good.
I have to tell you, as much as I hate Malacrel... He plays the game very, very well.
Yeah.
Because Pearl leaves that room thinking that, like, everyone in the Claw is against him. And so, like, the first two Claws come up, and it's such a head game. Like, sitting here right now, I do wonder if those were two incredibly loyal Claws to the actual Claw, or if they were loyal to Malacrel. We know that at the end, here's the thing, right? Part of me wonders if the Claw's been infiltrated at all. Because fucking at the end... That last Claw who's with him, who Pearl had picked, is like, I can't believe you're trying to sell us out to Malacrel and the Jahastal priest, or some bullshit. And it really made me feel like, what, is the Claw infiltrated, or did Pearl just get super played? I don't know. But he had a choice when those two Claw came up. He could have been like, no, follow me. But no, he was like, I'll go kill Claw.
Thinking about it now, Josh, I think it comes out to a bit of both. I think it's infiltrated, but I also think that the Claw that were out in the city trying to kill Kalam and Tavor were the Claw. Meanwhile, the Black Glove is somewhere else because they know they won't get killed if they're somewhere else, and so that way Malacrel can have the most power in the Claw.
Hadn't thought of that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also, how elite is the Claw if there's just a cash 600 plus of them? Yeah. Right? Like, we don't know the population of the Malazan Empire, but they also don't have technology to go find. So, like, they've really found 600 of the most elite people in the world to be really?
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, Pete.
Low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
I just gotta share a quick my hashtag Pearl thoughts, and then we can move back into the rest of the plot. I have never enjoyed Pearl. I love Lestara and think, oh, okay, well, I guess I like Lestara's section, and he's kind of Lestara's okay love interest, and I will put up with him for that reason. But in this finale, this is when he is the most interesting he has ever been. I would love to keep reading about Pearl because I think he's in this somewhat interesting place where he's obviously antagonistic in a way, but I don't really hate what he's doing, and I'm kind of sympathetic, and I'm like on board with him. It's the most invested I've ever been in his character. Do you mean? The only reason I ever cared about him before is because I care about Lestara. But I like him in this finale.
That's fair.
I think he dies at his most interesting.
Yeah.
He peaked.
Isn't
that the best time?
He went out on top.
Right, yeah. I'm gonna pull out before I cross this bell curve, yeah.
So let's get back into the plot. Awesome. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 100 out of 10. Hellian walks off the ship.
Fuck.
Yeah.
100 out of 10.
What do you mean we've stopped? Fuck this. Whoosh.
And then Touchy and Breathless we cut to them. They're watching and they're like, I don't know. We didn't see anything. We're just going to move on.
Should we tell someone? Yeah, maybe. But then they'll think we did it. Yeah, probably a good plan not to tell anybody.
So good.
Yeah, incredible.
Oh, and who's that? Looking up over the city, India? It's the twin lucks of chance. Opan is getting in on the action.
What the fuck was that? So they're like, okay, so here's what I need to understand. So Fiddler, Kalam, they're the same to me, as you know. I've said this all along. I don't know the difference. To this day. So one of them did that reading, their little tarot card reading.
Yep, Fiddler.
Predicted the future out of nowhere. So up in the sky, the Opan twins are like actively engaging in this and are like, okay, we have to hide our cards. Is that what I'm understanding based on their discussion? We don't want them to be able, like, what exactly were they saying? Did they not want them to select them for anything? Did they not want them to know what's going on? What happened? I have no fucking idea.
They're just tricksters. They're up there doing their own thing.
But what are they doing?
So they're up there. They're like, so India, do you remember like throughout the rest of this chapter and maybe the next chapter too, everybody keeps hearing the rolling of dice?
Uh-huh.
So people hear rolling of dice at like key moments in this chapter where like they could have died or not died, more or less. And that is Opan like fucking around, being like, oh no, you should have died here, but you know, we're gonna make you lucky so you're not gonna die here, or we're gonna make you unlucky so you will die here.
Opan plural.
Opan plural, because Opan is both of their name. One of them is good luck, one of them is bad luck.
The lady is good, the Lord is bad.
Is that what it is? I get it mixed up every time.
Yes.
That makes sense.
I feel like this is like some of the most explicit D&D shit in the books.
Yeah.
Oh, they're rolling the dice.
Yeah. That's nice, Pete. That's good. That's good.
That is so good. Okay, yeah, because I'm like reading this and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how? What is happening? And how are they able to? Because I don't really know. Are they like? No, I mean, like I know, but like it's just nothing. I get it. That's how I felt. I felt like, what the fuck? I felt like this is something that's happening that I don't get.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I'm like, sure, I guess, you know, if you want,
right.
I guess so.
Sure.
They're fucking around. They're doing that good errant shit where they're pulling stuff or what does the errant do? He urges things. What was it?
Urges.
Oh yeah, I forget.
So AJ Tavor finds Bottle and she's like, oh, you need to go find somebody. It's like really important. And they speak about to Amber a bit and the doll. How tuned were into you to Bottle during this finale, AJ, were you?
I don't know. I mean,
he's not a huge part of the finale.
Yeah, not really. Like I'm always down for Bottle to do some super interesting stuff, whatever. But I don't really feel like
he's kind of sent on this quest here, and then later we see him and he's finished the quest.
Yeah, pretty much. They're like, hey, take this doll, go do a thing, and then he goes and finds his mom's brother's cousin or something. And then they're like, oh yeah, cool, here you go.
Yeah, that was confusing.
So I don't know. It was just like weirdly like as like heady all the Bottle stuff is. This was just like straight up. I don't know. It was, oh man, what's the word I want? It's just like they weren't telling us anything. It was like, hey, you have this doll, go do a thing. And like it wasn't even like, wow, this is crazy. I just can't comprehend this. It was just like, no, we're not going to tell you. It's just like, go. He's going to go do a thing and you'll be fine.
And then he does it, and they're like, he did the thing.
Yeah, and I'm still just like, okay, neat.
But to be fair, that's Bottle's reaction later too, when he's like saving the world, you say?
Yeah. I do love all the Tamber stuff, though. This is kind of where the Tamber stuff starts. Well, not Tamber stuff, just Tamber as a character.
Yeah, Tamber, we see her in the tarot card, the deck of dragons, and then they talk about her more here, for sure. We talk more about Tamber then, and then that's because she, Kalam, and Adjunct Tavor are all going to form this party to go up to Mox Hold together. Kalam is somewhat reluctantly joins, but then he's like kind of pretty on board. And leading the way is the Red Blades, who they kind of go off the ship before, and we also hear some other people have gotten ashore before them. Josh, as these people are slowly trickling onto shore, we see the docks have been crowded. They're all waiting to try and get these Wiccans. Like, what's your mood like? Or as we get closer now into port?
You know, I'm a straight white man. And society does a really
nice brag, but okay.
And society does a really good job of just like kind of convincing me I can do anything I want. But you know what I'm glad I've never had the thought of is, you know what? I should be able to murder those people without retribution of any kind. And I'm really glad I've never had that thought. And it just...
We're setting the bar low for white men.
Yeah. Well, not...
Good job, Josh. Proud of you.
I do what I can. And so...
Hashtag ally.
So like this whole ending thing where there's just like hundreds, if not thousands of people out here just screaming for blood. What I don't understand is, and the people we like say the same thing. They're like, they do know we're an army, right? Like we can just kill.
We're gonna kill the shit out of you guys.
Yeah, like that dude's got a knife, like a butter knife. What's he gonna do with that? Like, we've got explosives in a world of swords. So that was my whole thought, was just like, why the fuck do they think this is a good plan the entire time?
It's Makra, baby.
I know it's Makra.
It's that mind magic.
I know it's Makra, but there has
Makra.
to be some route for Makra to take hold. You know what I mean? Like, what I want to know is the number of people out there on the streets doing this versus the number of people who are just reading a book by a nice candlelight, you know?
Yeah. They have the thought, maybe I should go fight this army. And they're like, no.
I don't know. Go ahead.
But Josh, that's one of those things. I actually think, I get what you're saying, but I think this finale for me does properly convey, I would say, the very scary feeling of like, okay, well, 2,000 people are outside and they're super disorganized and pissed and like just want to kill someone.
Well, Peter, I would say in the year 2021, I've never once seen an example of a large group of disorganized people suddenly become very organized and do something terrible. I can't think of even one example of that
Or
happening.
the idea that there would be politically driven people within the crowd trying to direct them towards violence. That'd be crazy.
You're saying it's a false flag. Wow.
That's exactly. It's a false flag, Josh.
Jesus.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, so that's how I don't know. It's kind of dumb. These people are stupid as shit. They kept trying to be like, oh man, isn't it a shame that they're killing civilians? And I was like, no. These people are we don't need these murderers. And that's how I feel. You don't like Wiccans, I don't like you.
So
on that note,
it wasn't a false flag, okay? Just need to get that on the airwaves.
Okay.
Back to the show. Okay, so Aj, the Claw follow Banishar. They're gonna kill him.
Yeah. Yes.
And we hear from this one who's like a part of Malazan's new super squad, the Black Glove. And then he tracks him into the bar, and then they talk more. This is this whole scene, right?
Yeah.
India, yes?
India's raising her hand using Skype's hand-raising feature.
Okay, great. Thank you. My question is, why do they want to kill Banishar? I don't understand it. And I also want to take it one step further because Josh, I have a feeling you're just going to answer this as a whole. So why did they want to kill him? Secondly, why did the two people go after to like save him? And then why? Yeah. And then a sub question, who is Braventooth?
Okay, I'm here. I've got this.
Just in case you guys are wondering how much I ever fucking understand when I read this, I don't even know who characters are.
Okay, so Banishar is an ex-priest of Drek. He is the one from the beginning of the book who explores the... Yes, right, we got that. Now, Drek killed all of its followers, but Banishar is kind of like an ex-priest, so he didn't get killed. He has a strong relationship with Tayshrin, because Tayshrin is also part of the Drek cult. And
he's the High Mage of the Empire.
Yeah, Tayshrin, remember book 3, he was the standard bearer, Arcanos or some bullshit.
I don't remember anything.
So Tayshrin is like the only like real powerful dude who is not taking a side right now. And Malazan does not want him to take a side because it's more advantageous for him to kind of not have any allies and just kind of continue to be like not involved. So that's why he's trying to kill Banishar so that Tayshrin does not get involved. Braventooth is the drill sergeant for the entire Malazan army, basically. Like, he trains everybody. Everyone who has a nickname is given their nickname almost exclusively by Braventooth, or like sometimes by their squad members, but he's responsible for a large number of them.
Like a long time ago, a lot of famous nicknames were given out.
Yeah, like he gave Fiddler his nickname.
So whose side is he on?
Braventooth is on the side of like the old school Malazan Empire. Like, he's definitely with the 14th in this instance.
Got it.
But he's still, yeah. So the two guys who get sent after the Claw get sent by Braventooth because he's just so inspiring. Like, you can't not listen to him. If you went through the shit with him as your sergeant, you can't not listen to him. So he tells those two guys to stop the guy because he thinks it's important that Banashar gets the Tatron.
But
and then
those
they both
two guys,
die. One of them dies.
Totally
one of them
dies.
Yeah.
One of them, not both of them?
Yeah, they both get shot, and then later someone's like, oh yeah, the one died, but the other one is doing fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
And it's just like a throwaway sentence. It's like...
Got it.
But so that happens, but the assassin tracking Banashar loses track of him.
Right.
But then aboard the ship, this Captain Reneg comes on. Fuck this guy. And he walks on and is like, yo, Keneb, I'm in charge of the army now. Tell everyone to come on board and drop all their weapons.
Yeah.
And then he's like, actually, we can't. We have plague. What'd you make of this whole scene and this whole, like, we have plague ruse?
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. It was brilliant because nobody wants that fucking plague. It's a death sentence. So then they're all kind of like, I think that really gave them like a good few minutes of like, wait, let's reassess because we don't want to get this plague. So let's back the fuck up. And then everybody's like, oh my God, they have a plague on that ship. Like, So power move, loved it. Phenomenal. Hate that guy. And love when he gets kicked off.
And murdered, subsequently shot in the back.
Yeah. Little.
Yeah.
That was me, guys, making my arrow and letting it go.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, asshole. Also, who do you think you are? Also, why would anybody, like, go along with this? Keneb, I really like. Keneb, I never really vibed with at all, just because, like, throwaway character for me. But in this scene, I was like, I just feel like there's sometimes when these characters, I'm just kind of like, whatever, really assert themselves for me. And this whole scene for Keneb, like the whole story of this whole ending, I was just like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, he starts to give it a little. He's like, yo, fuck you. You know? And it's like, yeah, I'm with you, Keneb. That guy can go fuck himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Phenomenal. Very good. So
Tavor disembarks and is going to start going to Mock's hold. And she's escorted by Tamber and Kalam, as I mentioned, and the Red Blades are there as well. Lestrar and Kalam speak about the crowds on the streets, and they talk about what other soldiers might have washed ashore, so to speak. And they start heading up to Mock's hold. AJ, how are you feeling during this as they head off amongst these crowds?
This is really like... I could tell that this is where we're about to come to a head and we're about to really pop off and it's about to just be a real shitty scene. And like I had looked ahead, so I knew how long chapter 23 was. So I was like, okay, all of chapter 23 is just going to be this whole fight in Malaz City, isn't it? And it was.
And then as soldiers start washing ashore, of course, Hellian does.
Yes,
and
Queen.
She's disoriented, but then she spots Banashar. But this assassin that was stalking the priest comes up, but she's not having it. She catches the claw, breaks his arm, smashes his head into the ground, shouting that this one's mine. Phenomenal. And then puts Banashar under arrest. I have no question. It's just an amazing scene.
It is so good.
Phenomenal.
It's 10 out of 10. Really,
so good.
Really good.
So good. So good.
Yeah. This made me... There are a few scenes in every book, or at least one scene in every book that like makes me put my book on my head just because it like takes me so... It just overwhelms me so with emotion, and that is the only thing that stops me from like throwing the book is to just like take it and just like press it against my head. And I did that, and I was reading next to my partner, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm so good." It's like something that was set up on page 10 has paid off on page 1070. Like, yeah, like truly, truly incredible payoff for this storyline. I was so happy and like taken aback by it. It was so good. And then I thought about it for a little bit and I was like, oh no, this is the funny scene to like kind of get us to relax a bit before we get into the really fucked up chapter 23.
Yeah.
Because it's like all this tension is building and building and building. And it's like, here's one goofy scene for you. And then we go back to the war. Like, okay.
Like, despite the violence, it's just like she's obviously so happy, and it's like the enthusiasm infects you. I mean, you're like, yes, you did get your man. Fucking put him, book it. We got him, boys. Yeah. You know?
Oh, really good.
Not to be an alarmist, but we're still in the second chapter, and we've been going for an hour and 25.
I know. I'm aware.
24 in the epilogue won't take that long. We'll be fine.
That's true. 23, though.
23
will take
I agree.
an hour.
24 in the I think 24 in the epilogue is like 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so Josh Fiddler, of course, before the big battle, has got to stop by, get a few upgrades on the equipment.
Yes.
Offload some goods, get some new stuff.
More D&D.
What did you make of this stuff? And he even gets a little fiddle, which obviously would be important later. I love this little, I mean, it is kind of like, I guess this is when we're doing it, but I do think it's a fun conversation about crossbows.
I really enjoyed it. I've said before that one of my favorite things with this book is all the stuff that we don't get to know that happened like in the 10 years before Gardens of the Moon. And this whole section of the book is just rife with that shit. So love that, like, this dude was saved by the bridge burners when the mouse was being killed, and he kind of owes them a blood debt. And he's not even a crossbow maker by trade. He was like a jeweler or some bullshit. So I just feel like I learned so much about so many characters that I've known, like, from that one little conversation. I loved every part of it. And also love that Fiddler got his fiddle back. Very, very good. Mm-hmm. Now, Pete, why don't you explain the difference to our audience between a violin and a fiddle?
Nice try. You got me. But I did want to just...
Can you imagine in this scene if the guy had only made 2 crossbows and they had to go back and he had to be like, sorry, Stormy and Gessler, only one of you gets this? I would have loved to... just like how silly. But like, of course that can't happen. He has to have made, enough extras for what the fuck ever.
I just wanted a quick plug that I thought about making Attack on the Power of Juju reference and came up with nothing, but I wanted to bring up the reference on the show.
Well, so, I also was
Attack and the Power of Juju.
Well, we'll get back to that.
That was it. We've already spent too long on it. What were you
going to make a reference to? Oh, was the guy's name Tack?
His name is
Tack.
I forgot.
So, awesome. Near the end of the chapter, Hellian, there's this bar.
Just want to say, clearly India didn't have a GameCube.
I did. No, that looks...
She's clearly Googling.
I did. I know that guy.
Anyway, so Hellian drags Banishar towards this bar, Smileys, and what's that? The bartender's a demon. That rules. That's
phenomenal.
All. Like, that's what I'm here for. Do you know what I mean?
I loved the casual, like, turn into a demon, rip off a head, walk back in and say, okay, so what did you want?
Yeah, turn back into an old man.
Turn back. Hello. Phenomenal.
So, and then at the end, Korik and the soldiers on the ships are preparing for more of a battle. And I'm not going to hit you with a wild proposition right now. I don't think we do a chapter 23 summary. I think it's too long. I think we maybe play a little music and then just kind of plug by plug.
Yeah, that vibes with me. We did a 12-minute summary for the last book's finale, and man, that took a lot out of me. So
I would like to start off the conversation about chapter 23, though.
Okay, you can.
After this musical cue. Hello everybody, producer AJ here, doing my outro in the middle because I know by the time I get to the end of this monster of an episode, I will be exhausted. Thank you so much for listening to the finale of the Bonehunters. We are all very excited to get into Reaper's Gale in a bit, but for now, if you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings on this or any of our other episodes from this season or any other season, you can always email us 10verybigbooks@gmail.com, tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D, Discord. That link will also be in our show notes. Thank you Also, as always, to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon, if you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. That link will also be in the show notes. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_Dan_G for the hottest national team likability takes. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode is by the one and only Amaranthin from their album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with their other music on bandcamp.com. The links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on August 14th, where we will be doing our Bonehunters mailbag episode. If you have any questions or comments for us, we will have a channel open in our Discord for you, or you can always tweet or email us as usual. Make sure to get your questions in by August 8th. I'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get into it with Chapter 23.
Can you get me like a fireball effect, AJ, to start this segment?
Sure.
All right. Hot take incoming. I liked Chapter 23 more than Chapter 7.
Whoa! That is a scorching take, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And I'll be taking no further questions at this time. Thank you.
All right, we can.
That's all you have to say about Chapter 23.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave now. I
take.
liked it so much that I'm gonna just leave.
Yeah, I liked 23 a lot. I don't know if it's recency bias, but I kind of agree with John. I don't know. I think they did different things. I think this was a really fun battle.
See, that's right. This is all about the podcast. You got to have a take, one or the other. You can't like both.
Yeah.
Okay. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, let's get this show on the road. I like your take, Josh.
Thank you.
So, Kalam, he's got an acorn. We're back on the acorn hunt.
Hooray.
You got to have that nut.
Who did the two of you also know in your hearts that it wouldn't work? You can't have the same thing work more than once, and he's already used that acorn in not this book. I think in a different book, but I forget which one. Did you guys also? He
used it in Dead House Gates to be like, "Yo, what's up?"
You're right. He did,
but not for like a "Hey, save my life" thing. It was just like a "What's up, friend?"
No, he did. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the strings when they went to the plague stuff. This book. I'm thinking something. But anyway, yeah, I felt like as soon as he touched the acorn, I was like, nah. It's not gonna work this time. You used it once before. You can't have the same tool work twice.
Really?
That's why I felt that immediately.
I didn't get that.
So, Bottle, AJ, we were talking about him earlier. He's kind of sifting through the city, meets with Agala, shout out Agala, and then sure. Then he kind of is going to be sent to help save the world.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to put a pin in that, or?
No, I love this dynamic between Agala and Bottle of her. I
love Agala.
Yeah, of her just being like, oh yeah. Bottle says, "You can help me." And she says, "Save the world?" "Well, yes, of course." And then Bottle's like, "Wait, save the world? What?" And that's the end of the section. It's really good. Yeah. It's really good. No, that's really all I have to say about it, because it's like barely a page and a half.
So, Inge, then we're on back to the ship, and we were talking about Keneb earlier. And this is when this Rinag guy is like, okay, this is no big deal, because the mob starts firing arrows at the ship, and then like kind of a fight officially breaks out. And this is when Korik kills the captain, Rinag, the captain of the guard, I think, right?
Sure.
And then Keneb declares that what's going on is betrayal. India, do you feel betrayed?
In what way?
On behalf of the 14th.
Oh, of course I feel fucking betrayed, Peter. It's just some bullshit. They're rewriting history here, and it is not fair.
Yep.
F this. Yeah, and I think, well, when we get to the scene part, which I guess it's well, okay, go ahead.
We'll get there. It's imminent. So just one other quick thing. So Josh, Fiddler is in the tavern, and he takes this fiddle he's acquired, and he starts to play a dirge. Josh, how you feel about dirges? Inge, you got a dirge take?
I do. What is this bullshit of when they sing a song and then everyone hears it?
Yeah.
What
you
is
see,
this?
In this world, there's magic, and the rules to the magic are vague and not explained specifically so that this could happen.
But like, what is happening?
In this world,
why are oh my god, I have so many questions.
I have to say this dirge made me cry the first time I read the book. It just, for some reason, it really got to me. I don't know why.
Wow.
What's a dirge?
A dirge is a sad, mournful song.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's usually slow and crooning.
Yeah.
Good. Got it.
I was going to call it a slow jam, but I think that doesn't really get to the heart of what it is.
Doesn't really quite get to it.
I don't think so.
I would have understood that a lot better.
Yeah, but the thing is, let's move on.
I thought it was a great scene for the record, though, Pete. Although, as a music person, I was a little upset that he can't. I know how to play the violin, and it sounds terrible. 100%.
It's god awful.
I'm a little annoyed that they didn't point out that was the bow rosined. When's the last time they've checked that the pegs aren't going to slip? Is it the violin?
There's no way that fiddle was tuned.
No way. Yeah.
And furthermore,
fiddler takes 10 minutes to tune, and then
here's another cinema sin in that I have not played the violin in a long time, and if I picked up, but I can play it. But if I picked it up, I would sound pretty bad. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the only instruments I sound good on that I haven't played in a long time are instruments I'm actually pretty good at. So if Fiddler can just pick it up and actually kind of crush it, which is how I'm led to believe, I have to believe at one time, years ago, he was actually really good at the fiddle, which is not the case.
Yeah. We know canonically never been good at it.
Now here's a take. Here is a take.
Sure.
Give it to me.
We've been having all this talk about Makra, right? And I feel like maybe Fiddler has some sort of magical connection somehow because he can read the deck, right? So maybe when he plays this dirge, it seems like a thing he's done before. Names all the people who have died, who have, whatever. Maybe that's some sort of localized Makra. But since all of the other Makra warrens or whatever are open across the city, everybody heard it like it was like a speakerphone call. So that's my
thinking.
Your take. Maybe, yeah.
I think that checks out.
I've heard worse takes.
Maybe Fiddler's magic is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
His music is magic. I do just want to really quick, before we got to that Fiddler scene, Korik and Keneb talk, and that section ends with Keneb talking to the Destriant, Runthurvian. And he says, we're waiting for the adjunct. Destriant, we're hers now. It's done. The damned empire can rot. And that's a definitive, the 14th, the Bonehunters are now their own thing. That's the only real definitive spot that we get about that.
It is true. AJ, how do you feel about it? They're doing their own thing.
I mean, it's been pretty clear. I mean, honestly, that they've been doing their own thing for now. But I mean, I'm all for it. Let's civil uprising and stuff. I guess it's not really civil uprising, and slightly empire adjacent uprising.
Also, I don't know if it really is super their choice. I mean,
well, I mean, they could have the choice to abandon ship, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I guess if they run off onto the shore, they're just going to get murdered.
Yeah, All right, so let's turn to it, Inge. We get to Mock's hold, and this is a huge scene. So Tavor enters, followed by Clown and Tamber, and they speak. Lasine, Corblodam, and Malik Rel are there. They speak all about these terms in which Tavor would transition out of this role as adjunct. What would happen to the 14th? What would happen to the Wiccans? And, oh man, there's so much going on. So much going on in this scene. I almost don't... Lasine asks about the plague flags. They talk about the chain of dogs. Malik Rel then accuses Tavor of treason. We learn Corblodam is the first sword of the Empire now and takes command of the 14th.
Tene Baralta is absorbed into the Empire.
Yeah. And Lasine orders the arrest of Nil and Nether. And at the very end of all of this, so much is going on. Lasine's like, okay, well, the big thing is adjunct's not supposed to be a military title. Give that up and come back to me to Unta. And Tavor says, okay, whatever. I agree to all of this. Let me go to my ships. They're not going to answer to anyone but me. So She leaves, and that's kind of the end of this major courtroom confrontation. Inge, what did you take away from this conversation in the courtroom?
My biggest takeaway is that this is when I decided I really fuck with Tavor, because she was not taking any bullshit. She was, in fact, serving the most impressive comebacks. And I think in this scene, it really shows that she really does care about the army, and that she really sees that Lassine's being fucking crazy. And she's like, all right. She like keeps her cool. She's like, we're going to go back to these ships. We're never coming back. They don't need to know. I'm going to agree to all your bullshit. But like, also, what the fuck are you doing here, Malik Rel and Corbo Adam? It's just, it was just chef's kiss, phenomenal scene. I would say arguably my favorite from like the whole book. Like this, I really loved it. I just think that Tavor's like strength and witty, sassy comebacks were just, it was it for me. It was phenomenal. Loved it. Big words, Inge. And oh wait, and one last thing. When Lassine like kind of is like super bitchy, she has this whole like paragraph where she's just like, in the adult world, Tavor.
Yeah.
People lie for good reason. So like pretty much saying like, yeah, it doesn't really matter that this is all a lie. It's what we need to like move forward. And Tavor's like, no, fuck that.
The Empire needs a new stage. We're moving on. We're leveling up. And that requires a sacrifice.
That was beyond me. And it was just so rude and so just like a nasty way of like making her shitty choice seem like it's the mature thing to do, and it's like what a leader would do, and Tavor is having none of it. And that I loved that. That for me, that was it for me. Like so good.
And, you know, if you think about it, it's really Lassine kind of talking bad about herself, because she was the one who put Tavor in charge. And if she thinks Tavor is a child, then, like, what kind of judge of character is she, you know?
Absolutely.
I also love when they're like, Corbo Adam, I forget which one, they were talking about Corbo Adam or Malik Rel. They're like, oh, I have a new position. And Tavor's like, what, Chief Snake? It's very good. It's like, nice. Sick burn.
Yeah. Well, at a certain, you know, they're being polite. Then at a certain point, especially towards Corbo Adam and Malik Rel, everyone really is like, yo, fuck you guys.
What are you doing
here? They barely
here?
keep it together.
Literally. So good.
Who
so
invited
good.
you?
And then when Tavor just kind of like ignores them even being there and is just speaking to Lassine, like they say something to her and she's just like, we're not doing this. And it's very good. It's very good. And this is where I put my loyalty in Tavor, you know. I became loyal to Tavor in this moment.
Yeah. You are hers, you know?
Yeah, exactly. She will protect me on the ship.
Yeah.
So, Josh, this whole big throne room sequence, how did it roll on to you?
Same as India. Loved every bit of it. I mean, also hated every bit of it, because I feel like in book 2, I was Kalam, right? I was so taken in by everything that Lassine said in that throne room scene. You know what I mean? And I was like, she really does know everything. She's all seeing. She's all powerful. And now I'm like, I think she's kind of dumb. Like, how does she think this goes well for her? I don't know. Is she playing 4D chess, or is she playing bad
at 1D chess?
Yeah, exactly. So that I feel I was very frustrated by what felt like sheer incompetency, and also frustrated that like the events that led to this came many times through. Like, the only reason Corbo Adam's here, anyone remember why? Pearl brought him here. Could have killed him. Nope, brought him here. So he led to this. Why is Malik Rel here? I don't remember what his fate... He wasn't in the 4th book, I think. I think he pretty much vanishes, so...
No, he just kind of leaves.
I don't know. It sucks that what brought us here were a bunch of small inconsequential decisions that led to, like, the murder of a bunch of Wiccans, and now we have to go save the Wiccan planes. But, like India said, I love a good courtroom drama. Whether it be a royal court or like a law court.
And Aj, I gotta come to you. I mean, there's so much juice dripping out of this steak. It's just all over here.
Yeah, I loved this, I guess, juicy scene. It was really wonderful. There are a lot of moments in this book where I talk about, or in this show where I talk about how like a lot of the like political intrigue and like military talk and stuff kind of just goes right over my head. But in this scene, I had a firm grasp on everything that was going on, and it made me feel so intelligent and so smart.
And I think there is a lot going on, and I think it's one of the scenes because all of these characters are like really well established, and we know a lot about the context of what they're talking about. So you're able to have this conversation where the subtext and them alluding to things and them talking around things, it all kind of lands a lot. It all lands really well, and it cuts like a knife.
Yeah, I think it's written really well. And at the end of the scene, when Tavor leaves the throne room, I'm like, okay, well, this isn't like none of this is actually going to happen. This is all going to break bad really, really quick.
You weren't like, oh, okay.
No, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then Pearl is tasked to kill Kalam.
Yes. So Kalam, then we kind of shift and Kalam and them start to leave, and Kalam is even offered command of the Claw. He considers it, and then he, Tavor, and Tamber speak kind of outside of the throne room, but they're not yet outside. And they have all these conversations about the different strategies, about like different tactics they could approach. Like, should they just go back in and just like waste Corbulo Dom and Malak Rel? But They ultimately decide against that for a variety of reasons. And I just have to stop because we didn't really talk that much about the Wiccans and that, like, just like how bad it feels. And I don't think it's like the biggest moral stance to take, but like so many people are so shitty, and just like it's so nice that she wasn't like, all right, well, whatever, let's just give up these Wiccans and like that's that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, just thank God. It's just a sense of relief. It's like, phew, at least that's something for them. You know?
These books are about compassion.
Yeah, I've heard that, believe it or not.
I'm not sure if you guys knew.
Anyway, so during this big conversation about their strategy, they decide to end up going outside. AJ, do you think they should have just went back in and just murdered them? And or like, do you think they landed on the right plan?
I think either way it would have been bad, but at least if they're going back to the boats, they have a way out. If they went back to the throne room and like maybe they do kill Corbulo Dom, the Empress, and Malak Rel, but also there's a bunch of claws in there probably too. And also Malak Rel is a literal priest of Mail, so like he's got that old magic. So I think it would have gone pretty bad if they went back into the throne room. I think trying to go back to the ships and just fucking get out of there was a good call.
Agreed.
Yeah, and neither choice was good.
No, also, they're both bad choices.
Also, on the I wanted to be on the record. India, your hair looks fucking great. I love the braids.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Josh. It was a labor of love.
Yeah, I know they take a while.
I'm leaving this in the podcast.
You better.
Well, we were complimenting her before we started recording, and the braids do look great. So,
guys.
Yeah. Nice. So, Pearl, as you mentioned, AJ is given order to kill Kalam, and then also Malak Rel orders Claw to go kill Nil, Nether, and Kenneth. So Kalam steps out in the city. They see that it's burning. And then India, we cut to Lestara, who is helping Tene Baralta out of his armor. Tene Baralta's like, I crushed it. I'm like the best. Or like, game over. And then he starts talking to her about her life. And she just...
What the fuck was that? Did you guys... Why did that happen?
Because Tene Baralta was corrupted by the crippled god, and Lestara Yill doesn't fuck with that.
How does she know that?
She overheard the combo.
Well, she doesn't know that it's the crippled god. She just knows that he's on his bullshit again, and she's tired of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Haven't you ever wanted to stab your boss in the throat, India? I know, on the record, I have.
That's on the radio.
I have not.
Holy shit.
Christ. For legal
Josh,
purposes,
maybe I should take that out. Do you want to?
No, that's in the show. He said on the record.
Don't you have coworkers that listen to this? And students?
They haven't gotten this far.
Guys, it's a joke. It's a joke. We're just kidding, guys.
For legal reasons, it's a joke.
For legal reasons, it's a joke.
This is parody.
Really, a joke. There, you happy?
That sounded convincing, Josh, so yeah.
Yes, thank you. I try.
So I take it there won't be a lot of missing of Tenai Beralta on the podcast.
No.
Tenai Beralta is another character who is a name that is just a name to me.
I've always loved Tenai Beralta. I don't know why. I've always loved him, and it makes me sad that he dies like this. But that's that. I think it just makes me sad after he gets so wounded, Yigatan. So Josh Korik and the soldiers of the ships are keeping them off the ships. He thinks about Quickben, and the Parish soldiers come to relieve them, and they go on board to protect Nil and Nether, who are going to start being ambushed by the Claw. Mm-hmm. Were you worried about the ships? Did you think they were secure? I felt like they had such overwhelming like numbers and experience that the only thing that worried me was the Claw attack. And that was kind of like, I felt like the Claw attack would 100% kill everybody. So that couldn't happen. You know what I mean? Sure. Like I felt like it would be so bad if the Claw actually managed to get onto the boats that I was like, oh, I don't think that can happen here. I think that would kind of make the story hard to keep going if they killed everyone on board. So I'm always worried about a fucking stray arrow because that's the thing with fantasy novels post 1998. It's a roll of the die that a character gets shot in the throat with an arrow and you didn't see it coming.
It's like in the last book, the one guy trips on a rock or something and falls on a sword. Yeah, do you remember that in that one battle? And like that's how he dies.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Oh, right. The shitty dude who then he like sliced his groin or something.
Yeah, he just like falls and it's like, oops, I've sliced my leg open. Like, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. So that was the only thing I was worried about. So then when Nil and Nether like went inside, I was like, well, they're fine. They're probably fine.
Yeah. And they've got their lich mommy too. So
the lich mom. So in
who?
Their lich mom. There's one scene where they're talking to a lich and they're like, yeah, it's our mom.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it.
So Inge, Tavor and the crew and her escorts get ambushed by a Claw. Kalam kills a lot of them, and we also see Amber get totally stabbed really bad, but she's fine, don't worry about it. And then Kalam leads them and escorts them out, and we see Pearl stalking behind them. How are you feeling? Were you worried for them here? Do you feel like...
Yes.
Were you... Okay.
Yes, I was worried because shit's getting really crazy and it's like a lot going on. Amber, mostly though, I'm like, who the fuck are you, Amber? How are you not dead?
Right.
How are you? Who are you?
Yep.
And what is happening? That was my biggest thought. I thought, to be honest, that Kalam might get taken out here. And then is this the part where he like is asking like, oh, do you hear the music in your head?
I think this is here.
I think he says it, yeah.
So then I'm like, and what the fuck is this music? And those are my thoughts. Mm-hmm. It seems pretty bad. And I know you asked AJ as a joke if he thought that they would just be able to like walk back. I actually did. I was not expecting this at all to happen. So like them to, which I don't know why. I don't know why I thought, thinking back on it, it makes no sense that she would just be like, yeah, go ahead.
To be honest, that's how I did it. I read it. I was like, oh, okay. And then they got out in the streets. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I should have thought about that.
Like, okay, yeah, that tracks. That definitely makes more sense than them having like this amicable ending of like, yeah, you just go check your ship. You'll come back. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that to say, shit got real really quick. I'm surprised they survived, and Amber shouldn't have. Who is Amber? And what is this song, and why does everyone hear it?
I wrote in my notes at this part, Amber is something else, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Like, something's going on here, and I don't know what it is. And Steve really was fucking faking us out. He was talking about her eyes glowing gold, and then was like, they look like tiger's eyes. I was like, what the fuck does this mean, dude?
I was like, she's the mortal sword of Treach.
We already have a mortal sword of Treach. I was like, maybe Treach has two because he's the god of war. Maybe there's two of them.
He's got two paws. He needs two swords.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, really, really good stuff.
I miss Gruntle. You gotta get him back, Pete.
TBT.
I guess we'll have to read another book to find out.
Maybe someday. The
Maybe.
magic conch, yeah.
So, AJ, speaking of the songs, Fiddler has this awesome thing. He's talking about suffering, and he's like, what if there's God, like compassion? He gets these getting all worked up. And then he eventually ends up playing like a fun little jig. That's what it is in my head canon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But what did you think of this little thought tangent he goes on, and he ends up in playing a little upbeat jig?
I mean, really, like, broke my heart. Like, when I read when he was getting ready to play the song in the beginning, like, I was very upset. It made me upset.
I weeped. I told you.
Yeah. I was close, but I didn't. But in this section was just like so, I don't know, like, we've seen Fiddler go through a lot, and to like have this level of emotion and like anger with the world and all of this stuff just be like laid bare for Fiddler was just like really, really heartbreaking. Just like really, really destroyed me. Because Fiddler's like one of those characters. I mean, you know, we see him go through stuff, and like he obviously has emotions and whatnot, but like he's still like, you know, he's an old school bridge burner. And like when he took on the name Strings, and we had talked about a little bit in that episode, or one of the episodes, about how like he doesn't want to be Fiddler anymore. He wants to be Strings just because he's trying to like forget that stuff, that blah, 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 blah. And now that he is Fiddler again, and you know, it's just really sad. But I do appreciate that Gessler's like, hey, hey, you can't be angry. please, let's play something nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't believe it's called the Peralt's Dance, which is the poison that fucking Pearl used. God damn it.
Well, it's because it's a spider.
It's a spider, I know, but fuck.
Right.
Oh, don't eat that.
But I liked it.
So Josh, Bottle ends up at Coop's Inn, and what's that? He's here to get Foreigner. That's right.
Yeah.
We find out what kind of his quest has been. He's ending up here to recruit Foreigner, and we learn who Foreigner is here, or do we? I think we learn.
No, it's later.
Later, right?
Yeah, not until later.
But he starts gathering his stuff together, and then Josh, Hellian, and Banishar are speaking about saving the world, and Hellian isn't that invested in it.
Oh yeah, I feel that. Hellian's great. I don't give a shit about the world. I'm a cop.
Yeah.
You're coming with me.
Nice try, hippie. Stop talking to me. You're under arrest. So, so then there's this kind of classic scene, Josh, where Kalam is there. He's like, we're being guided towards this choke board. I'm going to take him this other way. You go that way. It's like,
yep.
It's like a classic action beat.
Yeah. To Amber, with all your cuts and stuff, walk through this shitty water. You'll be fine.
Yeah. That was my thought too. I was like, that would kill her.
Yeah.
Well, it was a tough choice. Okay. I would have just died way before then if I was Kalam. So
if it was up to me, I'd be dead already.
Yeah, true.
All right, so Inge, Lestara Yill, who's that bumps into Lestara on the streets of Malaz City? It's Grub. And he's like, don't worry, I'm here to show you where you gotta go.
How old is Grub now at this point? 7?
7. Yeah, something like that.
Can you imagine? Just this fucking little boy like, yeah, I'll take you, but it's going to be a sad journey.
I'd be like, okay, sure. Whatever.
Literally. And it is. It actually is.
I'm AJ, I'm telling you, I don't think we find out who Foreigner is. I'm like reading
we
this.
100% do, dude. We 100%.
Who
it's the end of the chapter, man. It's the end of the chapter. We'll get there.
I want to say it.
We'll get there. I think it's more fun if Josh is the only one that doesn't know.
I guess.
But Josh is frantically searching now.
Yeah, I say I'm looking for the words.
So Josh, AJ Inge, I'm curious about you. Josh said he was like, oh, I knew this acorn wouldn't work. What did you think?
I didn't know that.
I thought it would work.
The acorn always works.
I kind of love when he tries to use it, and then we see Quick Ben, and he's like, "Oh fuck, all right, I gotta go do this Shadow Throne thing."
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming. I didn't expect that it would be Shadow Throne who like grabbed him and was like, "Nah, gotcha."
Intentional.
This is the time. Intentional? I don't know. What do you think?
Did you guys immediately realize that like it was Shadow Throne that had taken him away?
Yeah, because he owed him a favor.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if it was obvious.
Yeah. And then we like see him next chapter.
Yeah. Oh, he does. You owed me, remember? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Then Inge cut to Pearl. He's watching Kalam, and this is when he uses this poison crossbow to like double dog dare kill Kalam, and puts him out. And then he tells all the Claw, he's like, "Yeah, I totally killed Kalam. Don't worry about it." They call him Claw Master. Then some people call him and on his shit and are like, "Oh, you used some poison," and he kills the one guy.
Well, that was the last guy who was left. It was only him.
Yeah. So when Pearl kills, air quotes, Kalam here, were you surprised?
Yeah, I was. I didn't, but it was a cop-out way to kill Kalam. Like, Kalam was already fucked up, A, and then B, you can't just use poison. What an amateur move. So unclaw-like.
Would you have betrayed Pearl when he told you he used poison?
Yes. No. Yes. I know that you guys think that it was like a stupid move, but like I kind of get why Pearl did it. Like I get where he was going. I understand for his own personal, where he was going with it. So I'm not like super mad about it. Also like,
oh, I don't knock Pearl that hard.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's all I know.
Let's just put a pin in this whole thing because, we see some more battle throughout the cities. But then who's that's approaching up? And it's a shadowy figure. It's one of these types of scenes.
Amazing.
And the shadowy figure picks up the bolt with the poison on it, stalks Pearl. He's like, it's a shadow dancer. Maybe it's Cotillion, but a boom, boom. It's Absolar.
Absolar, the queen.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
It's Absolar.
Yeah.
So you say you're sad about Pearl. You seem stoked right now about Absolar murdering him.
But no, because come on. Like, Absolar, no, I'm not happy that it happened. I'm not. I loved Pearl. But Absolar is just always on her bullshit. Like, she is just always where she needs to be. She's just a bad bitch. She's just a bad bitch. And then when she's like, you were on my list and I was going to make it quick. But thanks to Kalam,
Yeah.
Justice is best served cold.
And that was Kalam's ghost talking to her, right?
No, that was the other
ghost
Claw.
Of the Claw.
I thought it was Kalam's ghost. I thought it was Kalam's ghost.
I could see it being. It didn't make sense though because I was like, but Kalam's not dead yet.
That's what I just thought it was magic.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
It was the Claw.
What is a Claw ghost? Who was that? Is that relevant?
It was the guy that Pearl shot in the back. It was the Claw that was like, I can't believe you killed Kalam like that. I'm going to go tell on you. And then Pearl's like, Patoo, no.
Yeah.
That was a great voice, by the way.
Got it.
That was a hard read then.
Yeah.
That was not clear, but.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought I assumed it was Kalam. So yeah, I was with you, India.
I guess I'm just smart is the thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to.
So anyway, AJ, then Shadow Throne appears and it's like, Absolar, you did a great job. Yeah. You have no debt.
You're free to go.
For the sixth time, Absolar's told, don't worry about it.
Right. And then she's good. She leaves.
She leaves.
That's the last we see of her. But we do know that Tellerist and Curdle are still on the boat.
Oh, but they can go anywhere, man.
Sure. Just a fun fact.
And then Shadow Throne does help oust Opan from the city.
Oh yeah, that's right. With the sleeping lizard.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. The beginning, the epigraph of this chapter is. Hold on.
The epigraph of this chapter is like literally the last scene of the previous chapter, but
it's the last scene of the previous chapter, but it's it ends with them, and so the twins were played. Oh, how they were played, because it's just about how they thought they had it all figured out, but then then other people were meddling as well. So get fucked.
Oh, get fucked indeed. So Fiddler's group starts saying head out, and they encounter Hellian and Banishar, and they all kind of make a makeshift posse to get back to the ship together. Tavor and Tamber get near the docks, but this is when they get ambushed, and we see Tamber die. And Tavor, Tavor gets kind of saved in a way, and Fiddler drags her back to the ship. Josh, what you make of this sequence into Amber's death?
And this is when the aerosol pops out of her, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was interesting. I liked that.
What is an aerosol?
Okay, we'll get there. I liked that. I like that Amber wasn't like secretly a god or secretly someone we should have known who she was, because that happens a lot in this series. I thought it was more interesting to me that she was actually just a human who was being used. I found that like more. It made it sadder to me that after, with all said and done, that she died. Yeah. And the Aerosol India is the ape-like woman who helps Bottle and was the one who was like giving the power to the ships to go really quickly.
Oh, yes. Yes, got it.
Yeah. Do you need to address the bury your gays trope? Because we only have one gay couple in this series, and we did just kill one of them before we ever had like more than one scene, but with just the two of them.
Yeah.
Which I didn't love, but like I get why in the story, Amber, I don't know. Yeah, just want to get that out there.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it hit me. It was a very emotional scene.
I do want to say we did miss a beat, I do believe, where our good friend Lagana Breed comes back.
Yes. Take us
there. Lagana Breed from Coral Demerlane. The Talana Mass that gave their sword to Stormy and then was like, I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna hold this rift shut.
That's so good. I forgot they come back. They're like, oh, story. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, well, it's like they just show back up and they're like, hey, can I have my sword back? And nobody is like, oh, how holding the rift shut go? Like nobody addresses it. It's just like, oh, cool, yeah, you're back, you're good. Like what?
No, he had the Tisty Eater head that he put in there to use instead.
Instead?
Huh?
Is that what it was?
It sounded like.
I don't think it was instead. I think it was along with.
Well, but he had to go in to like use the Tisty Eater head as like the thing that keeps it up. And they said that like no one else noticed he brought the head with him.
Yeah, I got that, but like I don't know. He was there for like right. That's what I'm saying. They were just like there for several years and then showed back up and was like, "Yo, can I have my sword back?"
It's only been like 6 months.
Has it?
Yes.
All right. Still, 6 months getting your body torn apart. Like they were like, "Oh, there's no way that they're gonna survive this," and then they just show back up and Stormy's like, "Oh yeah, here's your sword." Like what? Cool as hell.
They needed it back.
They needed it back, yeah. Also, they call Stormy Shield Anvil, so that's fun. We've got another Shield Anvil in the book.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I really love they say Shield Anvil and whoever it is, I guess Fiddler looks at Braventooth and is like, and Braventooth's like, not me. It's really good.
Yeah, put a pin in that, I'd say.
Yeah. It's good.
So Grub leads Lestara down, and she has this last moment with Pearl. And she sees Pearl suffering, and then she kind of puts him out of his misery.
Yep.
And that's the end of Pearl.
And he still didn't know that she was alive. Fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. They don't have some last moment.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. Because here is actually when we see Aerosol leave the Chamber's course. Because Grub kind of does it.
Yep.
And then this is when Grub tells Lestara, he's like, oh, you can never tell Tavor. This is...
Oh, right.
You have two things now.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because then Lestara's going to leave, but Grub's like, no, you have to come with us.
But when he says that, does he mean that she now has to be like the shell for that aerosol thing, or that?
No, I think Tavor just needs a person.
Oh.
Yeah, a right-hand person.
Okay.
Yeah, so, Inge, what'd you make of this ending for Lestara's storyline for this book?
It was a good ending, I suppose. It was like a nice, you have to kill your lover kind of way. But I don't really know if Lestara ever vibed with Pearl in the way that Pearl vibed with Lestara. So
she literally shows up and calls him my love.
Yeah, but...
Okay.
But like...
Yeah.
I guess that's a fair point. But
I agree. I didn't get that vibe, but then when she calls him my love, I was like, oh, I guess they really did love me.
But she puts him out of his misery, he's dead. It's out of sight, out of mind. Like it's not like this is it, you know? Like it's not
that was succinct. It was succinct closure on that. Like she saw him dying, she killed him. Like we know that he is dead, and so like that storyline is done.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that to say, I mean, it was not. There's nothing particularly interesting about it. That it just was what it was. It was a good way to wrap her up, I suppose. And I hope that we get to see more of her going forward as the right hand for, life.
Tavor.
In life.
Mm-hmm. So, as this whole sequence is coming to a close, I do want to touch on some big picture thoughts since this last part has been so scattershot. But everyone's getting on the boat to leave, and this is when we learn who Foreigner is. We hear everyone who's getting on the boats to leave, and they're all kind of departing. So, to go meet up with the rest of the fleet. So AJ, how are you feeling? We're here, and talk a little bit about Foreigner for me.
Sure. It's cool. I think it's kind of funny that they're like, Lestara is like, oh man, we failed. Bottle was supposed to get someone, but he didn't. And then Bottle's like, here I am with 10 people. And he gets on the boat, and here it is, Josh. 3 small black shapes scrambled over the rail, made immediately for the rigging. Gods below.
So he's with. Oh, I thought Withel was separate from him.
Nope. No, because when they go, so it's Withel. Everyone who didn't, it's Withel. When he's in the bar, Foreigner's like, oh, I have to get my wife and children, which is I guess what he calls the Nox now. And then that is them. So.
Oh, I missed one. A woman stood very near the scarred man. Okay, that sentence just blew right past it. Okay.
There you go.
I knew Withel was there. I didn't realize he was Foreigner. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And apparently Sandalith and Withel are married.
Well, of course. You could have cut the tension with a knife.
And the Nox.
Quiet husband. It's very good. And then I love when Fiddler's like, hey, where the fuck did you find Cartheron crust? Really good. Mm-hmm. Pete, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a whole ice book about the Ragstopper, right?
Yes, but I haven't read it.
Sure.
So I can't report.
Okay. Sounds good.
I think that's coming up this fall, though.
Yeah. But what happens? So we see the Ragstopper in Deadhouse Gates. Kalam is there. They get attacked by a Kraken or something, right?
We see the Ragstopper in House of Chains.
Deadhouse Gates. It's Deadhouse Gates.
I want to say we see it a second time, but we definitely see it in Deadhouse Gates.
Yeah, but that's where Cartheron crust is from.
Yeah.
Got it.
But anyway, so last little beat here, Kalam pulls him, trying to pull himself along, but India Shadow Throne watches and then orders his wraiths to drag him into the dead house.
It's like, is this, what does this mean for Kalam? Is he going to ascend? Is he going to die in there? Is he going to become something? What happens to him? What is the point of him being in there?
We know that the Deadhouse Gate can heal you because in book 1, what's his face and what's her face go into the gate.
Perrin and
Ralik, Nam, and Vorkan are dragged into the Darujistan's Azath house.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is. And I think it preserved them. I don't think they were healed last time we saw, but I forget.
Can he leave?
We haven't seen them in 5 books, so.
Oh, okay.
Is he now just stuck in the house?
He's not the keeper, so he should be able to leave, you would imagine, but we don't know that. Because there was definitely someone already in there who was a keeper, it felt like.
And then
there was a big guy came out.
Slips by Braventooth and Temper. She has a bottle, and she goes upstairs to rest, I suppose. And that kind of brings an end to this big night. So to play into Josh's hot button take, Inge, what do you think? How did you, just like a hot take, how you feeling about this whole big Malaz City finale?
I don't know. It was fine. I wasn't in love with it. I wasn't in love with this. To be honest, this whole book was just so long in the worst way for me.
Okay.
There were some good scenes, don't get me wrong. I've been saying things that I really liked, but overall, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. It was for me, that Memories of Ice ending was still my favorite. This was just kind of all right, it's more, I don't know. I wasn't as it seems like a book that the next books are going to have more happen, it seems like a begin, an end, but also so much is still left unsaid and undone. Right. So I'm not what's next? I wasn't necessarily in love with it.
Aj, do you feel as blown away as Josh portends to be?
I don't think so. I don't know. I really, really liked this chapter. I liked everything that happened in this chapter, but I think chapter 7 was like a feat, you know? And this one just felt like a good chapter in a book. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I think this was of the chapters in this book, maybe chapter 2, you know, like if I had to rank them, this was my the second best chapter. But I don't think it was better than chapter 7 for me, just because, like I said, chapter 7 was just like a feat of writing.
I think the reason I like it so much is because going all the way back to Deadhouse Gates, I think how Kalam's fighting is written is one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, there's some killer fight scenes in this chapter.
and in addition to the fighting, like I feel like in this book, Kalam and Quickbend have become so much more human, and I finally like get a lot of their motivations. And I really like that we get through the whole chapter. And, like, Kalam never once has that, like, well, I guess I chose Tavor. Like, he doesn't need to say it. It's just kind of everything he does in this chapter just kind of goes to show it. Yeah. And I think that's really what stole the show for me. In addition to, like, meeting so much of the history of Malaz City and the Malazan Empire in this one chapter. Yeah. So
I think this chapter, too, as far as, like, final chapters of a book go, did an amazing job of, like, tying up just... like the everything in this book. It's just like this was like the third or fourth climax in this book, and it really I think did a great job of kind of putting a pin in everything until we get to the next book, I guess.
Yeah, right. We'll see. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, it's because like India. I mean, you said that the Memories of Ice ending was good for you, but I agree. I love the Memories of Ice ending, but I think that one is like, here is the ending. We've like defeated the big evil and then we're all good. With this one, it's like, we didn't really defeat the big evil, but we got away. And now we have there's like a new army that we are forming, you know,
it's like after the first book, it's like, that's like the vibe that I get.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel that. Yeah.
PV.
Well, we're going to have to read more, I guess.
We still have one more chapter to talk about.
Yeah.
I know.
So let's keep things moving. Chapter 24. Ikariam with Tarlak Veed and the Eater travel by Warren towards another throne. Veed thinks on his past desires, and An tells Veed they are getting close. Tarlak Veed then tells Ikariam that An is deceiving his companions, and Ikariam thinks about deception. Ikariam tells Veed he thinks they were never friends. The Captain Taun leads the archer forward and thinks on his desire to impress Twilight. Two children on the outskirts of the First Throne play a game and sneak up on Onrak. Onrak speaks to the children only briefly before an arrow kills one. Onrak sends the other away. Troll thinks on Manala and the First Throne when the child comes in, warning the other defenders. An watches as Onrak guards a narrow entryway, and Veed wants to unleash Ikariam, but they debate on how to approach. Troll joins them in defense, and they start to bombard the attackers with sorcery. Ikariam sees a dead child, and says he refuses to kill children. Veed pulls him forward, and he draws his sword. Monarch Ocham flees, and the Eater rush forward. They are surprised to see children, but the battle continues. Troll defends the children, and An steps in and saves Troll. Troll fights the Eater and wonders what Manala is doing. Eater kills Bathrada, and An begs Troll to let them fight side by side. An wants to redeem himself. Onrak maneuvers and turns Ikariam around. His rage now faces the Eater and the Lithari. Troll watches Ikariam slaughter the Eater, and An tries to speak with him, but Manala cuts in. She is badly wounded. A wind knocks them down as Ikariam's rage comes towards them. Troll stands his ground, but An is mortally wounded. Troll holds for a bit against Ikariam, but then Troll's spear shatters. An Apt leaps out and attacks Ikariam. She drives him back, but dies. Troll retreats into the chamber with An's body. Alrada An dies. Quick Ben comes out of the Warren of Shadow and throws back Akarium with sorcery. They battle. Quick Ben grows weaker and weaker, and Akarium only grows stronger. Quick Ben weeps blood and passes out to the edge of death. Troll steps up to defend, but the aerosol appears and puts Akarium to sleep. The retreating Eater take Akarium with them, and Tarlac Veed says that surely Akarium has proved himself, and that he'll be able to face Rulad. Cotillion appears. He asks Troll if Quick Ben will live. Troll is furious and says Quick Ben wasn't enough. Troll asks about the aerosol, and they speak about the battle. Onrak enters and says Akarium was taken through the gate. They think the Nameless Ones are reckless to use him as a weapon. Cotillion agrees that Troll, Onrak, and the children won't need to fight again. And then he puts his head in his hands. So Josh, after Malaz City wraps up, the whole book turns to kind of put a pin on what's happening with the First Throne. So we start with Akarium, and he has this conversation as the Eater are approaching with Veed about deception. Mm-hmm. And I ask you, what is your read on Akarium right now and his relationship with Tarlac Veed before the battle?
I mean, before the battle, it definitely feels like he knows that Veed's been lying to him, which I was very happy that finally seems to have clicked. But it's a real shame that he do still have bloodlust, and it's clear he still gives into it throughout this chapter.
Yeah. So the Eater start to approach. They kill a kid. Unfortunately, some more kids are going to die. And
like I said, classic arrow, just random character arrow to the head.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. Yep.
That's actually such a, Justice, he's like, yeah, no, you did such a good job. They're never going to pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we get inside, and this is where, before we get inside, though, Troll comes outside, and this is one of the first times the Eater starts to see Troll, and everyone's like, it's the betrayer. Gah. But then they all get inside proper. And this is when the fight really starts to break out. And Akarium, despite not being really wants to, he enters this rage. India, what were you thinking about Akarium here? Did you think they were going to be able to defend against him?
No, I thought that this was the most futile fucking thing I've ever seen, where everybody is just like, all right, now you go against Akarium, knock the fuck back. Then, okay, Now you go against Akarium, dead. Now you go against Akarium, knocked back. And Akarium's just fucking taking it in stride.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I expected, and it is fucking wild. And it's just like a suicide mission at this point. and it's just so fucked too, because the fucked thing is that Akarium, it's just so fucking annoying that Tarlac Veed, or whatever his damn name is, had to even come, because this just shouldn't have happened. And you know that Akarium's little sad boy mind is going to be so, if he were to ever, remember this, would be so sad. He doesn't want to kill kids. He doesn't want to be here. And yet he's just fucking tearing everyone apart.
Mm-hmm.
Wild scene. And I don't even like fight scenes, but this was just
shit was scary.
It was fucked.
Yeah.
It was bad, but it was so good. Very good. I loved this.
It was really interesting how Akarium, everyone else is described as taking so much violence on them, and they feel so terrible. Akarium seems totally unfazed by anything that happens. Essentially,
it's like he's not there. He's just there, but the lights are on, but no one's home.
Right.
Yeah. So AJ, in the midst of this battle, Alrada'an is there, and then he gets in and he tries to fight alongside Troll. How tuned into his story in this last section were you?
I don't know. I wasn't super invested in Alrada'an, but I appreciated them, and I would always enjoyed reading their parts of the chapters, and I was thought the Blue Rose was very interesting just in general. So thought it was cool when he was Troll, I want to help, and then thought it was sad when he died. but those are really like my feelings don't really go any deeper than that on him. But it's good stuff, you know. And I really honestly, when he was like, I'm gonna fight, I was like, oh, this is not Bud. I was like, dude, you're not gonna help here. I'm sorry. So that was upsetting. Like, of all the people fighting Ikarim at that moment, I was like, oh, Radon, you poor sweet babe.
Buddy.
You can just stay on the bench. You don't
right. Please. It'll be better for everyone.
So Josh, then the shaved knuckle here, Quick Ben.
Shaved knuckle in the hole.
Yep. I gotta tell you, I was like, when Quick Ben appeared, someone's like, the Sita, he's here. I refused to read past it until I was like, I'm gonna figure out who this is. I have the tools. I know who it is. It took me like 30 seconds. I was like, oh, Quick Ben, got it. All right, now I can keep reading.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I love when he shows up. They say it's the Sita, and then where is the line? A figure who hissed, "Damn you, Shadow Throne!" And it's just like,
yes,
he shows up and it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, really so good. What was I gonna say? I loved this scene because fuck Malik Rel, who last chapter was like, oh, he didn't earn the fucking title of High Mage, you know, he's bullshit. And I was like, well, we see here now, like, you know, he can do some shit when he needs to do it. And it was great.
Which is like really
not enough shit, but go ahead.
But I think it really speaks to how well Quick Ben is like hiding his like magic and stuff and his power, because if Malik Rel doesn't know, but also maybe it was a double bluff for Malik Rel, I don't know. But yeah. So
eventually, Ange, the aerosol, shows up and puts Ikarim to sleep.
So
and this
casual.
Is kind of this becomes the end of that conflict, and the Eater retreat, and they take Ikarim with them.
Yeah. I was sad because I wanted to see what would happen if Ikarim and Rulad.
Well, we're going to. That's what they say at the end.
Well, but nothing happened.
Oh, well, we gotta read the next book.
Right, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay, got you.
Like, that's what I wanted to see. But I get it now. But like, I get it. I didn't understand though. I was confused at the end about what they meant. Like, my biggest thing during this whole ending was knowing who was on what side. So I was just having a hard time differentiating who was good and who was bad and who I should be like rooting for. Admittedly,
one weakness of this sequence in my mind is that it does introduce a lot of new characters on the Eater side who are like named, and then like there's only a few of these people that was personally invested in, you know, and then like in fact I feel like there's like 3 or 4, and then there's all these other people whose names I'm less familiar with that I'm definitely less invested in.
Which I just realized, like, a lot of those names, like the 2 guys that were fighting over who gets to kill Trull and the Warlock, like they get named in chapter 21. Exactly. But it had just been 200 pages since then, and I forgot about it.
But I believe they are 2 of Rulad's friends from book 5.
Yeah.
One of them I think is, I don't know, I forget.
One of them for sure is.
But they're not to the point where, first off, I care about them, or number 2, really know their name that well, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but anyway, AJ, so the last sequence in this chapter, Cotillion appears and they speak about this battle. Trull is not happy with him. So what did you make of this post that they were left at? Cotillion and Shadowthrone's decisions. How are you feeling about Cotillion at the end of this book? We saw a lot of Cotillion in this book.
Yeah. I think a big theme throughout this book has been like how like gods or people that or beings, I guess, that people like worship don't really have any say over anything that happens. And I think we get a lot of that with Banishar when he's talking in the last chapter. I think we get a lot of that with, you know, when Fiddler's talking about like, show me a god that doesn't, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, all of these gods don't really have the power that they think they do, or B, that they pretend to have. And so I think Cotillion is really just like coming to terms with like, oh, I don't have a grasp on anything. even though I now have all this power as like, you know, the patron of assassins and stuff, like that doesn't really mean shit. It just means I'm a better like assassin, but like I can't really control anything is how I come away feeling about Cotillion. It's just like, and then he puts his head in his hands at the end of the chapter, and like I think that is just him just being like, what the fuck is any of this for? Like, why am I doing this? Why am I the one who's in charge of this, you know, protecting this throne? Like, why would I put myself in this position? Like, you know, he could have just been the best assassin in the Empire, but he decided, no, you know, I need to be the assassin, you know. It's just bummer for him.
Yeah. Well, that'll put a pin on chapter 24. So let's do a quick dance through the epilogue, and then we'll put an end on this whole episode.
Ooh, I wanted to ask a question from last chapter that slipped my mind. Can I do that real quick?
Sure.
There's like a scene in the last chapter where we see someone coming up through the water, and it is not Hellian. And like,
it says there's a stranger here or something. Yeah.
And then like there are times when people die in this chapter that it's kind of hinted could be attributed to that. That didn't get clarified, did it?
I think it's
the stranger.
Absalar.
Well, maybe it is.
I thought it was Absalar. She killed. That's what I thought. First of all, she's the stranger, I thought, and then she killed all those people. I thought.
Yeah, she killed all those claw that Kalam and them came across in that one spot. She killed all of them.
Got it. Okay. Well, then I can. Okay.
But I'm not sure if that's. I'm not sure.
Honestly,
no, Indy, I think,
I'm not 100%, but I think India's right. I think she got it.
Yeah, Indy, I think you're right about that. That tracks.
Cool.
That tracks.
Cool.
All right. On to the epilogue.
So India, we're gonna dance through this.
Let's dance.
Shadow dance.
Dance. So, in
all
fact,
eyes on me, baby.
Okay, real quick. What do you guys? Real quick, visual gag. What do you interpret shadow dance to look like?
Oh my god, white girl dancing.
That's so funny.
I was gonna say like water bending from Avatar.
It's very water bending in my mind.
Yeah.
No,
to me, it's like a line.
up. It's hands up. Just feeling the music.
Black Eyed Peas playing in the background.
I imagine it's like a country line dance, but like instead of feet, it's your, you know, the feet with the intricate moves. It's like your blade.
Yeah.
You know, but you're just kind of like hopping, like jump, you know, and you're just like slashing as you go.
Yeah. That's
how I feel. So whenever Absalar shadow dances canonically, I do sing Cotton Eye Joe in my head.
So
I've seen you shadow dance.
Speaking of dancing, Inge, Cutter is nostalgically remembering a time Absalar danced, thinking about Absalar. He's talking with Scalara, and he's like, I think we should lay down. And then they go to lay down together, and Mappo is having a good cry. So what'd you think of this, putting a pin on their storyline?
I didn't think of anything about this. This was so dumb.
I saw your eyes roll to the back of your head.
Yeah, so fucking dumb. I'm so over it. Just all of it is so annoying. Like, even Scalara, like, well, I know why, the real reason we are laying together, and it's just dumb. It's so fucking stupid. I'm over it. I'm so over Cutter and Scalara in this moment. In every moment. Until he finds Absalar again, I don't want to be bothered.
Scalara doesn't need to be his security blanket. She deserves better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree.
So Josh Kars is on the boat, and he's talking to Samar. He's like, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to get there. And then he hears about Ikariam, and he's like, oh, sick. I didn't get to kill him last time. I can't wait so that our fight got interrupted. I can't wait to murk him when I see him.
Yeah.
Are you on board with the Karsa hype train as he's heading to Lether?
I'm always down for an unstoppable force and a movable object style battle.
Sure.
So pretty excited, and doubly excited for the potential of them both just chopping Roulade into bits.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty great.
I just like that scene. It's a fun scene.
It's very good, yeah.
So keep moving along. Ikariam here wakes up, and this is another scene with him and Veed. What did you make of this scene? And we talked a bit before, he kind of, obviously was having those doubts before he kind of rages out, but then he kind of wakes up and they have this conversation. What was your read on it? And what do you think he thinks about Veed?
I fucking hate Tarlak Veed so much. So fucking much, dude. It's so, oh my God. I'm really...
Unlike you, I remember.
Yeah, like, fuck off. I'm honestly, like, kind of... I don't know, it feels like the rules are changing, I guess. Because last time Icarium went into, like, a big rage like this and, like, killed a bunch of people or whatever, he forgot who Mappo was. But now when he comes back, he's like, the Lethri people used to think I was dumb, but now they're afraid of me? Like, he remembers everything except just that battle, which kind of irks me a bit. Because, come on. But, I don't know, I guess time could have passed. He could have gotten... Rage. Yeah, I guess, whatever. But
I want to pop in. I love this new Icarium. I am so excited for Chad Icarium instead of the sad boy that we've known and moderately loved for 4 or 5 books, whatever. Yeah,
Chad Icarium, Virgin Terralac Veed, yeah.
Yes. Oh, and Terralac Veed being like, get away. Yeah. I've seen what you do. So fucking funny to me.
So stupid. I hate it so much. It makes me so angry. Anyway, there is no need, you know?
There is. Josh, we also have a scene with Tayshran.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't seen him in a long... What was that? AJ.
I loved it. I love this scene.
Ugh.
No, like, I love this scene.
I'm pretty on Tayshran.
Yeah, you've taken a hard anti-Tayshran stance on the podcast.
I just think there's no room for you to be in the middle anymore. Like...
For sure.
I just struggle. Like, what would what did him staying neutral accomplish in this book other than more people dying than probably necessary? I'm sure he's like super smart and he's playing the long game or what the fuck ever, but it annoys me in the present. And still never forgiven him for letting Whiskey Jack die.
Well,
he just forgot, Josh.
Unless we have another hot Tayshran take, we'll end with the great scene back in Kartul. Where they're like,
sorry, wait. I do just love when who's Tayshran talking to? Whoever he's talking to.
Shadowthrone.
Yeah, that's what it is. And he's like, why didn't Quickbend use you? And Tayshran was like, well, if he would have used me then, I would have been very upset.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you waiting for, man?
I guess that is a hint that then like Tayshran is on their side, but like, I still.
So it ends and they're like, oh, they're back on Kartul with the spiders, talking about the slaughter at the Temple of Drek, and like, whatever happened with all that? You know, it's basically their attitude.
Really good stuff.
An orgy of suicide.
Yeah.
An orgy of suicide. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like, I think it's the first scene in the prologue. I think it closes and opens the book.
Yeah, it's a nice little frame.
It does. And I like that they're like, the last person thought that too. And that person seems to like know some significance about Hellian being in the 14th, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Whew. Marathon show over here, everybody. Nice job. Dude. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
You close the notes.
Are we doing predictions?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Did you want to do like rankings and stuff or no? It's already been 3 hours almost.
Listen,
so.
we have no time for big picture thoughts in this episode. If you want to know, you can tune into our mailbag episode, which is going to come out on August 13th. And so we want to get some thoughts in from people, hear what they think about Bonehunters and the ending of it and any single part of it. So after you listen to this episode, send us an email, send us a tweet, let us know what you think of the show, and let us know what you think of Bonehunters. We're going to do normal mailbag wrap-up stuff and then some other special episodes for the rest of this off-season, and then we'll start Reaper's Gale sometime later.
Woo! I thought Toll the Hounds was next.
Toll the Hounds is book number 8.
Oh, okay, so it's Reaper's Gale next. Got it.
Reaper's Gale next.
I wonder what that means.
It's a gale of reapers.
Imagine it's Karsa and Icarium. Anyway.
All right, everybody. I say come, you say passion. Come.
Passion.